We're at the start of an adventure, a huge, powerful V8 adventure, as we put two styles of V8 racing car together to form a new series, the European Late Model Series. What's it all about? Well, the hugely successful Camso V8 cars that race on this 3/8 of a mile oval here at Warnerton are being brought together with the former SCSA ASCAR cars, and they're forming the new European Late Model Series. And unbelievably, a car as stunning as this one, just €26,000, and you could be in the driving seat driving around this very track.
Well, Dave, here at Warnerton, of course, we're in Belgium, but just a kilometre over there is the French border. In fact, we're in the fields of Flanders here, where many heroes were made, and of course, 90 years ago, many heroes lost their lives. But as I say, we're in Belgium, but we could almost be in somewhere like North Carolina. This stadium is 3/8 of a mile round, and it's got this high banking. It's very wide, and these tracks we have here are absolutely perfect for the cars.
We want this series to grow up, and we hope it's going to be a good season this year. We all a new driver, the ASCAR and everything.
And I've raced, like I said, in a lot of different speedways, tracks, countries, and I've never worked with a class where everybody pitches in and helps each other.
Well, the first time I drove one of them, that was it. You got to have one of these cars. So
Warnerton is as good as any of the short tracks that I've visited and raced at in Seattle. It's a good facility, the track feels nice, and from what we've seen in testing, I think any of the drivers here that are racing at the moment could easily go out to the States and mix it at any American short track.
Absolutely sure they could. This is it, the Warnerton Raceway. We're at the start of something very, very big, and we're ready to go racing. Those are the three ASCAR cars leading the pack away, and you can see that there is quite a gap that has been built into this grid to enable these three guys to get on terms. Of course, their cars continually being developed as they integrate into this Warnerton Raceway, and already the racing is underway. 75 John Stewart, brilliant to see JS, the short oval hero, former National Hot Rod World Champion, back out there mixing it. Of course, he left the short ovals, went on to the bigger ovals in ASCAR, and the car number 75 back on track again, who's already going past one of the backmarking Camso cars, the former Camso cars. That's one of the French rally drivers who's borrowed car number 4, leased car number 4, to be out here racing this weekend. Andy Andrews, the 62-year-old American, now resident here in Europe, and that is the man that everyone wants to be. He is the current champion, number 95, Gary Ellis, another driver with huge oval racing experience, has been in the little pocket rocket legend cars, been in the single-seater Formula 2s and Superstocks. Gary Ellis, he is the intimidator in car number 95, the all red and yellow machine. Now he knows this track like nobody else, because of course he runs the race school here. Yes, you too could be out here racing if you took part in the race school. And here in the European Late Model Series, Gary Ellis is on a charge around the outside of Andy Andrews in car number 17. This is nip and tuck all the way. As you can see, Andy Andrews keeps a tight line, stays below the white line. Gary Ellis goes through. Right in the back, there's another former champion, Jean Vasseur. Car number 77, the green and black machine, being driven by one of the race officials this weekend. But there is Gary Ellis. He's going past Tony Hurdle in car number 98. The yellow and red car number 95 is on an absolute charge through this pack of the all-new Euro Late Model Series here at the Warnerton Raceway. And already we have a yellow flag. Race promoter there, Roland van der Meers, waves the yellow. Of course, all these drivers are hooked into a speaker system in their crash helmets, so they know when there's been an incident, and it was Jean Vasseur that was round there, all part of this incident that took out Kelvin Hassel in car number 88. There is part of Kelvin's car. Kelvin, one of the huge characters in this sport. Wouldn't think so to look at him now, as some running repairs go onto his car. Camaraderie in this racing is magnificent to get those cars back out on track again. And there he goes, Series creator Tony Roots there, wielding a hammer. Fantastic stuff. And there is Kelvin Hassel, minus some of his body parts. That's the car body parts, as they flex their way around the track. And we have a green once again from Roland van der Misch. And that yellow flag gave Gary Ellis the opportunity to get on terms with John Stewart and get past JS in car number 75. So the Intimidator, Gary Ellis, leads. We can see Dan Boys there, also Tony Hurdle in the other ASCAR cars. But it is this guy, the Intimidator, Gary Ellis, in the Roots V8 Racing yellow and red machine. Car number 95 is leading the way. Keep an eye on the blue and white machine of Xavier van der Misch in car number 19. Another one that knows every square inch of this oval raceway here at Warnerton. There's JS getting just a little bit sideways. Into the corner he goes. He's trying to check what place he's got left now. He led for so very long, but Xavier van der Misch is past him now. There is your race leader, number 95. That's Gary Ellis. Into second place now goes Xavier van der Misch in car number 19. Getting sideways. John Stewart is in there as well. Car 77, driven by one of the race officials. Christoph here is coming through into fourth place right now. There is Gary Ellis. There is Xavier van der Misch, who is in second place. And the chase is on now. Xavier trying to reel in the leading car of car number 95. Gary Ellis. Gary, of course, is the current champion as John Stewart once again gets very, very sideways. Big battle going on here. The green and black Tony Roots car being driven this weekend by the race starter here, Christoph, who is an accomplished racer, former Lightning Rod star. And right now he's there battling with two of those ASCARs, car number 98 and indeed 75, John Stewart. What a race this has been, and what a race it's been. The first one of the all-new Euro late model series for this guy, Gary Ellis, who really is on an absolute charge. Going through the back-marking traffic now, driving so cleanly, but with such purpose and poise. Absolutely wants to make race one, win one, his. But of course, Xavier van der Misch has got different plans. Each and every race of the three races here at Warnerton today counts towards the championship. The Euro Late Model Series. This is race one of the all-new season, and Gary Ellis in car number 95, not putting a foot wrong. Earlier we saw Jean Vasseur spin, but Xavier van der Misch is right up alongside him now. Xavier van der Misch has taken the inside line. 07, Jean Vasseur spun. They are absolutely neck and neck. Where did Xavier van der Misch come from? He just flew into being completely alongside Gary Ellis. But Gary takes the win, and there is Xavier to say very well done. Wow, there was nothing in it. The top 8 then, Gary Ellis takes the win. Then it was Xavier van der Misch. Christoph van der Kerkhoff came in 3rd place. Tony Hurdle was 4th. And in 5th place was Wim Moonen, with JS taking 6th. Now to make this even more interesting, let's hook up with our race controller.
Now, gentlemen, we go to green now. We are ready. First car, 98, keep the same speed. La 5, ralentissez, la 5 et la 3. Green!
There we have the green from our race director, Roland van der Misch, and we can hear his conversation. That's exactly what every driver is hearing as they race around this Warnerton Raceway. Each and every one of them has got an earpiece inside their headphones, and he can talk directly to them and tell them when to adopt certain positions, when to be cautious because an incident has happened out on track. It's the Race-Saver system which works really well in this racing. Okay, so the second pack of cars then. There we see car number 3. There's Andy Andrews in car number 17. Christoph, the race starter here at Warnerton in car number 77, the Tony Roots machine, which is the green and black machine, which is being pursued right now by Xavier van der Misch in car number 19. As we go on board, and look at this for a fantastic shot. We're on board with Gary Ellis's car. This is car number 95, as we can see Gary weave his way through the traffic around this fast and furious Warnerton Oval. Flames being thrown out of the car in front of him. That doesn't intimidate him at all. That is why he's the intimidator. This is Gary Ellis, car number 95. There we see Andy Andrews in 17. Alongside him, right around the outside, goes Xavier van der Misch in car number 19, the blue and white machine. Look at this, all the way around the outside line. Now Christoph in car number 77 takes a look and thinks, no, I'm staying down on the inside right now. There we can see Gary Ellis as we go once again back on board with him. Just listen to him out of this bend. That is the sound of awesome V8 power around this Warnerton Raceway. And Gary using his feathered toe to to make sure that each and every depression of that accelerator pedal works and works well. This is Gary Ellis in car number 95 then. And of course he started right at the back of this pack, having taken the win in Heat 1. We can see the flames coming out of the back of the 77 car, which is being driven by Christoph. So car number 19, Xavier van der Meers. Then we see Christoph in the green and black car, number 77. Must mention Tony Hurdle, who's having a brilliant race in the former Ascar car. Tony Hurdle, another one with huge short oval race experience, and experience in Ascars on the big ovals as well. And he's absolutely loving his time out here, gradually developing those Ascar cars. After all, this is only the second heat from which they're in real race conditions to get those cars absolutely set up, as Gary Ellis takes a dive on the inside of Christoph in car number 77. You can see Xavier van der Meers in front of him. Xavier van der Meers is on a real charge now to get on terms with the leading car, 95, Gary Ellis then. Then we see the green and black power machine of number 77 being driven by Christoph. And there, gradually, the traffic coming into shot right now. And there is the man on a charge, Gary Ellis in car number 95, getting past the Ascar, following in the wheel tracks of Xavier van der Meers then in car number 19, the blue and white machine. He took it to the absolute wire in Heat 1. He'll want to be sure that he takes the win in Heat 2. So getting past one of the higher cars, car number 4 being driven by a French rally driver who fancied a bit of oval fun this weekend here at the Warnerton Raceway. And these onboard shots from Gary Ellis showing just how he has to... Oh, and there we see John Stewart goes round. John Stewart in a spin, yellow flag situation, which of course will have been communicated by the race director. So 75 JS got a little bit loose on the accelerator pedal and turned the car around.
We are ready to go to green, gentlemen.
So there is Hurdle leading the way. We're ready to go green.
Green, 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 green.
And there, with all the excitement you expect from a race starter and race promoter, we go green, green, green. And Tony Hurdle then gets immediately overtaken by Xavier van der Meers, but alongside him now is Gary Ellis, and we're on board. We're riding with 95 Gary Ellis all the way around this phenomenal 3/8-mile oval here in Belgium, as he tries to get on terms right now with the race leader, Xavier van der Meers, who is pushing ever harder. He knows that he's got Gary Ellis right behind him, and Gary won't need asking twice to get on terms, but Xavier van der Meers, hugely experienced racing driver, as too is Gary Ellis. It really is the battle of these two as we're heading towards the conclusion of this race. It is number 19, Xavier van der Meers, then it's 95, Gary Ellis, then we see car number 77, and we see one of the higher cars go round. The Roots V8 Racing higher car number 4 has gone round, but the race promoter stays with it. We're not going into yellow. We're going to keep this race going, and look at this. We are right on the bumper of Xavier van der Meers now. We're on board with Gary Ellis. We're actually willing him. We're in the car with him. He's past the stricken car number 4. There is Xavier van der Meers and Gary Ellis, absolutely side by side. There is nothing between them. A little flap of a wing panel from car number 19 as Gary Ellis once again gets almost right into his boot. Now he's going to go for the outside line. It's the long way round, of course. We've got the backmarking John Stewart, who gets out of the way. Xavier van der Meers to the outside. Gary Ellis, can he dive up the inside? Is there room? He gets so sideways as Xavier van der Meers takes the checkered flag. Wow, what a phenomenal race from these Euro late model cars. So Xavier van der Meers takes the win. Gary Ellis in second place. Then it's Christoph van der Kerkhoff taking third. Tony Hurdle, a brilliant result for him in fourth. Wim Moonen fifth. Jean Vasseur sixth. And Bruce Andrews seventh. Welcome back to the Warnerton Raceway, where we've had two phenomenal heats and the feature final to come as Jean Vasseur readies himself and the cars get ready, and Andrew Marriott, well, he seems to be relaxing somewhere.
Dave, I found a little bit of light reading here. It's the 2009 left-hander chassis catalogue from the company in Illinois. And you can buy, mail order, a complete race car here. Absolutely extraordinary. Just have a look. Here you can see the chassis. And in fact, they'll crate the chassis for you for $500. The chassis, of course, costs considerably more. Turning through the book here, various different engines. This one here has got 400 brake horsepower. going through. There's the actual body panels you can buy, and even I saw at the very back here, look, the stickers that they use for the lights, the pretend lights, and they come in at just about $31. Absolutely extraordinary. I think I'm going to fill in the form at the back and buy myself a race car.
Well, here we go then with the 35-lap feature final, and Andrew, while you're ordering yours, order one for me, because this is phenomenal racing. We're into this 35-lap heavy-duty feature final as we see Daniel Boyes and also Tony Hurdle and John Stewart leading those cars away. It's 99 that is leading the way straight away in this feature final. All of today, those ASCAR drivers have been developing their car and tweaking them as we go once again back on board with Gary Ellis, who again, as company, has got the bootlet of Xavier Vandermeersch in front of him. Xavier gets a little bit sideways. Christophe, the start marshal come good as a racing driver in car number 77, has got the inside line in the Tony Roots car, which is car number 77, the green and black machine. Jean Vasseur, their former champion, of course, in car number 07. These are fantastic shots as we can see the action unfold. And at the wheel it is number 95, Gary Ellis, as once again flames come out of the back of the car, and Gary taking it all the way around the outside is Wim Moonen. He's trying to get past right now. Wim is on the outside, very nearly going 3 abreast around this Warnerton Raceway as we stay on board with Gary Ellis. Gary knows, of course, that he has got to get past as many of these cars as he possibly can on his charge through, because he'll want to take the checkered flag in this, the first feature final of the brand new Euro Late Model Series here at the Warnerton Raceway. Not only here at Warnerton, of course, racing in the UK as well, with Liddon Hill to come, also the Vauxhall Heath Raceway and Hensford Hills all to come. And details, of course, of all those fixtures can be found on the website, details of which we'll give you. But let's get back into the racing right now as Gary is alongside 07. Jean Vasseur, former champion in 2007. Jean Vasseur then and Gary Ellis absolutely head to head, but Gary is through in car number 95. Jean taking it very much to him, but Gary has got the power, he's got the experience, and he's got the handling in this car. He really seems to have got it absolutely bang on song for this racing here at Warnerton. It is round 1 of the new championship for these Euro Late Model Series cars on this 3/8 mile oval here at Warnerton Raceway. Dives up the inside right now. And you can see now the banking around here, 10 degrees of banking around this Warnerton Raceway as we're back on board with Gary Ellis. And Gary Ellis is going out to the wall. Look, he's took avoiding action, used every bit of experience he'd got to hold on to that, and that's the reason why Tony Hurdle in the Revolution Racing car number 98 spun. And well done to Gary. As once again we go green with Daniel Boyes, another Revolution Racing driver, using all his experience from racing on the tracks in the Pacific Northwest. He is alongside John Stewart, the 2 ASCARs, former ASCARs, former SCSA cars, call them what you will, that are leading the way. But we see car number 3 right now being driven by Serge Blancart, the black car, in car number 3 into 2nd place. But leading the way, Daniel Boyes in car number 99. Is it all going to come good for these drivers in this, the feature final? Of course, they've used all of today to develop these cars. These cars, of course, used to turning left and right, as opposed to the Camso cars, which, of course, only turn left. So quite a bit of development work needed to be done to these cars, as once again we go back on board with Gary Ellis, and another turnaround as yellow. And again, Gary hard on the brakes and just held it together. I have to say, the discipline of these drivers is absolutely magnificent at the incredible speeds they're racing around this racing circuit. They've all got to have trust and respect for each other, as once again we go green, and poor old Daniel Boyes, every little bit of lead he had has counted for nothing right now, as the cars are all bunched back up. But car number 99 then, Daniel Boyes is leading the way. Then it's car 03, Serge Blancart. And now we see Gary Ellis on a charge around the outside of these cars. He's got the Roots V8 Racing car number 3 on the inside. He goes out a bit wide, of course, out on the rough stuff at the top of this banking here at the Warnerton Raceway. But Gary Ellis knows this as they go 3 abreast, and Christophe in car number 77 is through. And so is Jean Vasseur, then former champion, 2007 champion in the Camso V8. Jean Vasseur, body shop owner. In fact, he paints damn near every one of these cars that's out on the racetrack. But this guy driving car number 77 that we can see from the onboard camera is Christoph. He is the start marshal here at the Warnerton Raceway. A super character, but look at this. John Vasseur has gone through. Daniel Boys, who did a brilliant job for Revolution Racing by leading this feature final for so long, has had to concede as Christoph's bonnet has flown off the car. Did you see that go? The panel work off that car number 77. He'll be getting an invoice for that, there's no doubt. But 07, Jean Vasseur is leading the way. And Jean Vasseur then is in first place, and a real battle between Gary Ellis and car number 77 there. For second and third place. This is supremely fast racing. Jean Vasseur, the fastest frog there is. He is our French driver in car number 07. He was the champion in 2007. But right now, the Intimidator is on his back bumper as he goes wide outside. This is Gary Ellis, who we're riding on board with right now. Gary Ellis desperate to win this feature final. He looks to have it. He looks to have the outside line. Jean Vasseur giving it everything he can, as he would. He doesn't want to concede anything. And Christoph then in car number 77. I don't know whether it's an aid or it's a hinder, the fact that he hasn't got a bonnet right now, but he is trying very hard as well. These are the 1, 2, 3 in this, the first feature final of the Euro Late Model Series here at the banked Warnerton Raceway, the 3/8-mile oval here in Belgium, right on the Belgium-French border. Gary Ellis in car number 95, the back marking 75, John Stewart. 3 different nationalities in the 1, 2, 3, the first 3 places. This is phenomenal stuff. Gary Ellis up against the back marking traffic now. This shouldn't cause him a problem because these drivers are very, very well disciplined as the checkered flag goes down, and that's the man that dishes out the discipline, Roland van der Meersch. Gary Ellis takes the feature final. Oh, what a fantastic race here at Warnerton. He took the win then, Gary Ellis in second place. It was the fastest frog, Jean Vasseur. Christoph van der Kerkhoff in third place. Xavier van der Meersch was fourth. Wim Moonen took fifth place. Jos Janssen in sixth place, with Daniel Boys taking seventh. And Vincent Lehoek was eighth. Gary Ellis, 2 out of 3, and that the biggest one, of course, taking the feature final. That was a superb race, though, because right up until the very end, the last perhaps 5, 7 laps or so, it could have gone one of any ways.
Oh yeah, it was the traffic was playing into it, so yeah, someone could have come past. When you catch traffic, you get stuck, and they go round the outside.
Jean Vasseur, second in the feature final, best result of the day. That was really good racing.
Yeah, really hard racing because I had a loose car all day, so I think I deserve it.
Christoph, many congratulations, third place. I'm not even going to try and pronounce your surname. You tell us.
Van der Kerkhoven, all in one word.
Yeah, well, that's exactly why I didn't do it. Yeah. You've had a brilliant day's racing here at Warnerton, and podium like that, very, very good.
Yeah, 3/3, so yeah, it's very good. Just, you know, it's the first time this year, and straight with a car I've never driven before. I did just, I think maybe 30 laps yesterday, and that was it. And now 3/3, can't be better. Well, it can be better, can get the first, but...
We've had a fantastic day here at the Warnerton Raceway with the European Late Model Series, those monster V8 stock cars providing some scintillating action, and there's much more of that to come very soon. We're here for the next round of the Late Model Series at Warnerton, and Anton Gonnerson is with me, a new driver for this particular day. Anton, a huge history in motorsport you have. Tell us more.
It's a big story, but actually if I want to reduce it to a few sentences, we are Dakar drivers, and we've done all sorts of endurance races, Le Mans, Zolder, Francorchamps, 24 hours, and Nürburgring. which we're going to do this year again in an Aston Martin. But our favorite remains Warneton.
Okay, and just to go back to Dakar, if I may, I'm given to understand it hasn't always been, you've used various different vehicles for Dakar.
Actually, we two people, my friend Kurt and me, who's also driving here today, we actually made a world record this year in January in Argentina, where we arrived with quads, which means the category motorcycles, for the third time on 3 trials, because the other 2 there were trucks and jeeps, so which means we have done the 3 categories in 3 times and 3 times arrived, which makes us the only one in the world.
That's absolutely fantastic, isn't it? Because as an endurance event, to finish that event is such an achievement.
It was very hard the first 2 times, and I thought I'd seen it all until I arrived in the 4th of January in Buenos Aires, and then another dimension of the rally started. It was amazingly difficult and dangerous, and but we made it.
Okay, so to Warneton then, you say your favourite, the late model V8s, of course, hugely powerful cars. You've driven them before. What makes it so special for you then, Anton?
Because it's a track that asks a lot of skill, although it doesn't look like that because it only has 4 turns to the left. But it's short time racing, which is also nice. It's, as you say, it's really powerful. So you've got the sensation of speed, and you have a lot of influences from other drivers, which you don't have in endurance races, which you don't have on a big circuit. There's a lot of interference. The cars are powerful. There's a lot to be raced with, and it's very nice. On top of it, it's not so expensive.
So Anton Gunnarsson, there he is from the Raptor Racing team as he drives out. In fact, all the cars make their way onto the track, being paced around now by former national hot rod world champion 75 John Stewart from Paddock Wood in Kent, over here for round 2 of the Euro Late Model Series.
Green!
We get the green from our race starter, and there is number 95 Gary Ellis, who's got almost an entire lap handicap. Look, starting right at the back, in fact right at the front of the leading pack, but he's a lap down. So it's John Stewart that leads these cars away. Phenomenally powerful V8 cars, and here's the pack of the former Camso cars, all integrated into the new European Late Model Series. Now these former SCSA cars given a little bit of an advantage at the start of the race, because these cars are still being developed and still integrated into this new European Late Model Series. They're slightly heavier, slightly taller, and they can turn right as well as left. So a bit of development work going on with the teams to get these cars on terms. And talking of on terms, we go on board with Xavier van der Meers right now as he's working his way through the pack. Right in front of him is Christoph van der Kerkhoff in the Tony Roots car, number 77. Xavier looking for a way round, takes to the outside. Jean Vasseur is just in front in the red and blue car, but we're on board with Xavier trying to get past Christoph van der Kerkhoff in the 77 car. Very, very evenly matched, fast, close racing as we go back on board. He's got Jean Vasseur right in front of him now, and it really is a tight pack of cars now. This is hugely exciting stuff from this European Late Model Series as we see a car, a little bit of damage there.
Yellow.
We have a yellow.
22, slow down. 22, slow down. Numéro
Race
3,
director
s'il
telling
vous plaît,
22
gardez
to
votre ligne.
slow down. Oh no, Kelvin Hassel, car number 88. Whenever there's an incident,
So
never
we have
normally anything to
75
do with
inside,
him, but he's always in there.
98 outside, 17 inside, 99 outside.
There we can hear our race director lining those cars up, making sure they're in the right place before the green once again as John Stewart leads them away. There he is, Roland van der Meers, race director. John Stewart coming under increasing pressure now from driver number 17. That's our veteran, ex-American racer Andy Andrews in the all-orange 17 car, through on the inside. Fantastic stuff for Andy Andrews then, driving the Chevy Impala bodied car. Driver number 17, he's had a career littered with success. Back on board we go with Xavier van der Meers. We can see on the inside Kelvin Hassel with his war-wounded, battle-damaged car still going. We've got Jean Vasseur right in front of us, champion in 2007. And Xavier trying to squeeze through the gap in the middle, but the gap just not wide enough. There is Gary Ellis in 95 now. He's got Tony Hurdle right behind him. Gary, of course, started way back. and he's trying to reel in Christoph van der Kerkhoff right now in the number 77 car. This is fantastic stuff from the all-new Euro Late Model Series. More information at latemodel.eu. That's the website for you to check out all the information. As once again we go back on board with Xavier. We see Jean Vasseur getting a little sideways. Now Xavier, where's he going to go? Inside, outside. Looks for the outside line, gets right alongside Jean Vasseur now through the bends here at the Warnerton Raceway. 95, Gary Ellis then, and a little bit of a ding there between John Stewart and Christoph van der Kerkhoff in number 77. Xavier dives up the inside, Tony Hurdle there in car number 98, trying to defend his position. Xavier takes to the outside. This is fantastic stuff. We can see Gary Ellis there in car number 95. There's Christoph van der Kerkhoff in car number 77 and John Stewart in 75. John driving a superb race. Bear in mind that this car's still under development. So this, and look at that! Christoph van der Kerkhoff taking a huge advantage of a mistake there made by John Stewart. This the battle for a podium place. 77, Christoph van der Kerkhoff. We're on board with Xavier van der Mesch, watching everything that's going on here on track. Fantastic here at the Warnerton Raceway, the all-new Euro Late Model Series racing away. The sound of those awesome V8s powering around this 3/8 mile oval. Xavier van der Mesch there, Gary Ellis in 95, we're back on board with Xavier. Christoph van der Kerkhoff in car number 77. Xavier van der Mesch trying to find a way through, looks inside, outside, sticks with the outside now, dives back on the inside, right on Christoph's back bumper. While all this is going on, there the checkered flag for Andy Andrews, who went off into the distance. Fantastic race win for this guy, number 17, Andy Andrews. Brilliant effort from him. So there we have the race results then. Andy Andrews takes first place, second Christoph van der Kerkhoff, third Xavier van der Mesch, with fourth Gary Ellis. John Stewart takes fifth, Tony Hurdle in sixth place. Fantastic race. Okay, so we're at the Warnerton Speedway then, this 3/8 mile banked oval, as we line up then for race number 2, being led away then by Dan Boys in the 99 car, Tony Hurdle to his outside, John Stewart behind, and these in the Howe chassis based Ascar, former Ascar cars. Now they're not an offset chassis, they are built to turn left, turn right, unlike the Camso cars. So a little bit of development work still to be done to get those absolutely right up to speed, but a 5th and 6th place in the last race shows you just how much development has been done. As we go back on board with Xavier van der Mesch then, going past the matte black Raptor Racing Treble 2 car. Then we see Kelvin Hassel. Tempted to say long-haired lover, I'd better not say that, but he really is long-haired. A real rocker is Kelvin. That's John Stewart in car number 75. The white and green machine of the former national hot rod world champion John Stewart from Paddock Wood in Kent. Very nearly a veteran racer himself now. He won't like me for saying that. Dan Boys, of course, who's already had great experience of racing in the States. Gets a little bit of a slide on there as John Stewart goes through. And there we see Wim Moonen in the all-yellow car. Wim Moonen is a car dealer by trade. Got big short oval experience. But on the big 3/8 mile oval, as we see Xavier van der Mesch get a little bit sideways right now. Xavier van der Mesch, we're on board with him. Fantastic racing here at the Warnerton Raceway. Just listen to this V8 power. Great to be on board with Xavier and hear the note of that fantastic V8 engine roaring around this raceway. Let's hear some more. What absolute monumental noise that is. Poetry to a petrolhead's ears. Flame-throwing Wim Moonen then is right in front of Xavier van der Mesch. Xavier takes to the outside. You can see the flames being thrown out of that Wim Moonen car as Xavier, who has made an incredible charge around this raceway. You can see the panels flapping, and look at that! as Tony Hurdle goes in really deep and gets very, very sideways. It matters not to Xavier van der Mesch, hugely experienced, knows this Warnerton Raceway like the back of his hand, and used all that experience to his advantage. Wim Moonen then in the all-yellow car. There's Xavier in car number 19, John Stewart on his outside, as once again we go back on board with Xavier van der Mesch, giving us an incredible taste of just how quick these cars are around this 3-8-mile raceway that is Warnerton Speedway. And Xavier's up on the inside. This is the fight for the lead. Look at this battle going on between Wim Moonen and Xavier van der Mesch. It's yellow versus blue. Xavier takes the outside line, goes slightly wide and takes to the outside once again. Wim Moonen holds tight on the inside. Backmarking car in front of them. Xavier van der Mesch giving it absolutely everything that he possibly can around this raceway. So the back market number 3 car won't know what's hit in a moment as Xavier van der Mesch takes to the lead then. Wim Moonen will be furious that he made the mistake of sticking down low on the inside as Xavier van der Mesch, as he pumps that throttle around the bends. A real sideways style driver is Xavier. He loves nothing more than showboating for the crowd here. I'd get in the tail of that car kicking out. There we see Jean Vasseur. There's Gary Ellis, the Intimidator, in car number 95, getting a bit of a shove there from John Stewart. Tony Hurdle taking advantage of that and diving up the inside. This is Gary Ellis in car number 95 then, the all-yellow and red machine. He's fighting for a podium place as well. Absolutely brilliant stuff. Look at this around the back marking number 3 car. Gary Ellis, it's like he's on rails, V8 powered rails around this Warnerton Raceway. John Stewart then retires to the outside of the track, perhaps with some damage done earlier on in the race. But it's the battle to the line right now as we see number 95 Gary Ellis there in the yellow and red machine. But surely it's going to be Xavier van der Mesch's race. Once again Gary Ellis turns. Here's the pack, there's the blue and white car of Xavier van der Mesch. He takes the win. It's Wim Moonen then, we think, is second. Maybe Gary Ellis third. There's Jean Vasseur. What an eventful race. That was fantastic. Flame-throwing stuff with Xavier van der Mesch taking the win. Wim Moonen second. Gary Ellis third. And then under our radar, the Raptor driver, Kurt Dujardin, in 4th place, with Jean Vasseur 5th and Anton Gonnerson in 6th place. There the crowd applaud, as rightly they should as well. Good fun race, not so for John Stewart. Puncture there and a little bit of wall damage as Xavier van der Mesch celebrates on his lap of honour. And we're back with the feature final next. Welcome back. Let's go racing. This, the longer feature final of this European Late Model Series. And as we go into this feature final, the championship standings at the moment, a quick calculation would suggest that the battle at the top is between Xavier van der Mesch and Gary Ellis. But right now, let's see those drivers out on track then. Tony Hurdle leads them away in the number 98 car. Then we see 75 John Stewart. Then it's Dan Boys. And we're back on board with Xavier van der Mesch, who's got a whole pack of traffic to battle his way through to maintain his position right at the top there. In front of him, we can see the 77 car. That's the Tony Roots car, but it's being driven this weekend by the race starter and one-time top lightning rod driver, that's Christoph van der Kerkhoff. But there's Dan Boys, who's got experience of racing in the States. Then we see the other Raptor car. There's 3 Raptor racing cars in this event, and that is Treble 2. Josh Janssen driving that Dodge Charger bodied car. And down the straight we go, a bit of a touch there. You can hear 99 being told off, and we see car number 71, Bertrand Zor, go round. The yellow flags are out. There is Bertrand Zor.
And number 4, slow down.
Well,
Number 99, you go at the back of the field, you cut in before the car was already inside. So gentlemen, we have our positions.
So the positions relined up then by Roland van der Mesch, our race official here. Discipline amongst these drivers absolutely imperative at these speeds around this 3
Green.
We have the green then, and driver number 4, Frederic Bernier, in the number 4 car. But we go back on board with Xavier van der Mesch. We can see Jean Vasseur in 07 in front of us. Then we've got Tony Hurdle on the inside line. So where's Xavier going to go? Dives down low on the inside then. He's got Tony Hurdle. There we see once again Josh Janssen in the Treble 2 car from the Raptor Racing Team. Distinctive black cars. Back on board with Xavier van der Mesch, who's reeling in the 2007 champion Jean Vasseur around this oval here at the Warnerton Speedway. Warnerton Speedway, as close as you will get to NASCAR style racing here in Europe. In fact, this Warnerton Speedway, very much like the DeSoto Super Speedway in Florida. I suspect that Bruce Andy Andrews has raced there in his racing career, but we're staying with Xavier Van der Meers right now as we see 88 Kelvin Hassel get very, very sideways. Now that could cause a problem now to Xavier Van der Meers, who's going to have to go down low. 75 John Stewart occupies that place at the moment, so Xavier is blocked in now. Kelvin Hassel doing the best he can with a nil handling machine, bit of panel work flapping on that car as well, and Jean Vasseur goes up the inside, and so too does Gary Ellis. This is just what Xavier didn't want to happen, so Xavier now dives down to the inside. Gary goes up on the outside. And there we see 07 Jean Vasseur as we go back on board with Xavier Van der Meers to see how this is lining up right now. Gary Ellis through, and Gary trying to reel in as we see Jean Vasseur get very sideways. Gary Ellis very, very close. Now Ellis really is on an absolute charge. Look at this battle here. These three drivers, Jean Vasseur, 2007 champion, Gary Ellis, last year's champion, Xavier Van der Meers, right in the pack. Now bear in mind, Xavier and Gary are fighting, we think, with our calculations, right at the top of that championship table, so this feature final is important to both of them, but it's just as important to Jean Vasseur as well. He desperately wants to be in there, and this charge is fantastic. There too is car number 77, Christoph van der Kerkhoff, going past the Treble 2 Raptor racing car. Flames flying out of the back of that matte black machine, which is the trademark of the Raptor racers. Oh, and John Stewart's gone round. John Stewart has gone round. Tony Hurdle involved in there as well in car number 98. And the Crime Stopper 75 John Stewart car, that has sustained some damage as we get back now. Let's line those cars up once again and go for the green. The fight to the finish in this feature final here at the Warnerton Speedway, the Euro Late Model Series, and it's Christoph van der Kerkhoff in car number 77. Then we see Treble 2, then we see 95, then it's Jean Vasseur, then it's Xavier Van der Meers. All of them ploughing their way through this fast and furious field of V8 racers here at the Warnerton Speedway. Now Van der Kerkhoff has really shown well driving this Tony Roots car number 77, but he's got Gary Ellis right on the outside of him now. Now if anyone makes an outside line work, then these drivers are the ones that do it, and Gary Ellis will stick there like super glue to the side of Christoph van der Kerkhoff. Look at this absolutely neck and neck stuff around this 3/8 mile banked oval at the Warnerton Speedway, the Euro Late Model Series. Now you too could be driving one of these V8 racers here at the Warnerton Speedway, because Gary Ellis is actually part of the Roots V8 Racing School, and it would only cost you €500 a day. I've got my hand in my wallet as we speak, as we see Tony Hurdle retire. The awesome sound of these V8s. And there's Xavier Van der Meers pumping his throttle around the bends, the flames coming out of the back of Christoph van der Kerkhoff's car. Absolutely fantastic stuff. Gary Ellis has got his nose in front, but it only came after absolute persistence of being alongside Christoph van der Kerkhoff for lap after lap after lap after lap. Absolutely brilliant close racing. So there he is, Gary Ellis then. And look at that, in third place it is Treble 2. Xavier Van der Meers has got all the work to do. He wants to get on that podium. He needs to be on that podium. But there is the man, number 95, Gary Ellis. Real personable individual in the paddock, always helping every other driver. And Xavier Van der Meers now takes to the outside line. Around, trying to get past Treble 2, Josh Janssen from the Raptor Racing team. But the yellow and red machine of Gary Ellis is being hounded by Christoph van der Kerkhoff in car number 77. We go back on board with Xavier Van der Meers, who has got to do everything he possibly can to get close to these two. Again, absolutely floors that throttle through the straight, lifts off into the bend. Few bumps of it, and back out onto the straight again. sound of that mighty V8 roaring as he gives it absolutely everything he can. So there is number 95, Gary Ellis. Perhaps a car length in front of 77, Christoph van der Kerkhoff. And then behind Christoph it is Xavier van der Meersch. But it is Gary Ellis at the moment, who looks to be relatively untroubled. Flames out of the back of Christoph's car once again. These European late models here at the 3/8 mile, banked, fast and furious oval raceway that is Warnerton Speedway. As Xavier now really on terms with Christoph van der Kerkhoff, but the checkered flag is down and Gary Ellis takes the win. Marvellous sideways manoeuvre there from Xavier van der Meersch in celebration. Absolutely awesome feature final. And taking the win then, Gary Ellis. In second place, Christoph van der Kerkhoff. Third was Xavier van der Meersch. In fourth place, Jean Vasseur. Fifth, Jos Janssen. In sixth place was Kelvin Hassel. Seventh, Anton Gonnersen. And eighth was Bertrand Zor, which means then that the driver standings for the championship, Gary Ellis is right at the top with Xavier van der Meersch in second place and Christoph van der Kerkhoff third in the championship.
Got lucky breaks with the yellows. I was lucky I could get away, carry on. Sometimes you get the yellows, you get boxed in, and you lose loads of places before you got to do them again.
Honestly, side by side with Gary, and that was fantastic racing.
It was absolutely awesome. It was one better than yesterday. I couldn't believe it. I could manage it. It's really fantastic. It's possible to do it with these cars on this little track. It's possible, and you know. You just need to do whatever you have to do. You have to stay within your line. You can't switch over. You just have to do your thing, and then you can do it. You see, second.
A big repair job though for one of our racers. John Stewart, I regret to say that was a race full of drama and you were right in the thick of it. Can you talk us through what happened?
I don't know, it was a race full of drama, but I had a bit of drama that rather hit the wall quite hard.
Now, I mean, we were looking, of course, we're watching the race all the time, but it's completely different from a driver's perspective.
Yeah, well, it is. I can't sort of blame him in some respects because I didn't know he was underneath me. I thought he was outside, but unfortunately, when he hit me, he just kept the power on, which fired me into the wall. He didn't give me a chance to get away, but that's racing, isn't it? You know.
Well, another fantastic day here at the Warnerton Speedway and the Euro Late Model Series. 3 different winners, tight, close racing, the sort of action that we absolutely love, and there's much more to come very soon. Welcome to the Warnerton Speedway here in Belgium. We're right on the French-Belgian border. We've already seen rounds 1 and rounds 2 of this brand new European late model stock car series. These fantastic V8 cars powering their way around this 3/8 mile oval. Now in the first 2 rounds, Gary Ellis, they call him the Intimidator, he's been the dominator. He's done really well. However, for this round 3, 3 new drivers on board, one of which has a huge pedigree in oval racing, so it may be all different today. But first, let's meet those newcomers. Ricky, you're full of confidence, full of smiles. My goodness me, that's a big car to be taken out on this 3/8 mile oval.
Yeah, it is. It's the first time I'm driving the V8. Worked in the racing school for a year and a half here for Tony Roots. I drove it on the track, but that's all it is. Not on racing speed, not anything at speed at all.
Car's pretty good, just getting used to it. I'd say quite fast, got quite a lot of power, you've got to have a bit of respect for them. But no, I think we're quite close. Race is a different thing, could do a few more laps, a bit more practice, but we'll see what happens.
I raced the track here at the Superstock and it's a fantastic little track, and they put a good show on, and I wanted to try one, and Tony invited me over to come and drive his car for him, so that's why we're here.
So Heat 1 ready to roll. Our race director Roland van der Meers will send them away.
Green, 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 green.
And away we go, and as you can see, once again, the former ASCAR cars have a little bit of an advantage at the start, being driven this weekend by Lee Maddox in car number 99 and Tony Hurdle in car number 98. Those cars still being developed for this 3/8 mile oval, but each and every race they're getting closer and closer as we're on board with Paul Poulter for this race. We can see already that Tony Hurdle in car number 98 is beginning to pull away. And this, very much part of the development that Tony's been able to do with that car as we go on board with Paul Poulter then and see what it's like from a driver's eye perspective. Lee Maddox then in car number 99. What a baptism of fire for this driver out there in amongst all these hard-charging European late model cars. So you can hear our race controller then telling everybody exactly how to behave. He was telling number 5 to hold his line, number 5 being driven by former National Hot Rod star David Brooks and former Superstocks racer as well. There indeed then, car number 98 is Tony Hurdle. Tony Hurdle coming under some pressure now from Vincent Lee Hook in car number 66, and Tony goes very, very sideways, very nearly embracing the wall. That has let Kelvin Hassel through, also let Bertrand Zor through in car number 71, but leading the way right now, it's Vincent LeHook in car number 77 is leading the way in that little pack. So there's Bertrand then in car number 71, that's the blue car. Wim Moonen goes through in the yellow car. There you can see car number 66 in first place, Vincent LeHook. Loving his time in this European late model series, one of the Camso drivers, really embracing this new series around this 3/8 mile oval, Warnerton Speedway. Kelvin Hassel is tracking him every single way. Now Kelvin Hassel really is a one-man band. He does everything on that car himself, works supremely hard, just seems to have a cloud of bad luck all amongst him. There, number 95, Gary Ellis then, of course, the fastest drivers start right at the back. It's what makes this racing so very exciting. They've got to battle all the way through. Andy Andrews in car number 17 is who Gary Ellis is trying to get past, and there lurking behind him is Xavier van der Meers. Real battle going on between Gary Ellis and Xavier in terms of points at the moment. You'll see the flames throwing out of the Jean Vasseur car. There they are, right on cue. Paul Poulter driven out very, very wide there. Just keeps it out of the wall. Remarkable stuff. There's Kelvin Hassel in car number 88. So once again we go back on board with Paul Poulter driving this 77 car this race meeting. Paul Poulter with huge oval racing experience.
Look if number 3 is not burning. 5.
So Roland van der Meers there gets some words from series organiser and runner of the race school, Tony Roots, and that's what they're saying, that Christoph van der Kerkhoff in car number 3 is actually on fire. As Paul Poulter gets a little lump into the side but manages once again to keep it out of the wall. So there is Christoph van der Kerkhoff, who went so very well in the last round, driving the number 77 car. He's in car number 3 this time round with just 5 laps left to run. There we see Paul Poulter, there's Jean Vasseur, and there is Christoph van der Kerkhoff then in the car number 3.
It's burning at the back of the car.
So Christoph then being told, get out, your car is on fire.
Triple 2, slow down.
And there we see treble 2. What's happening here? Also on fire.
Gentlemen, 2 laps.
So, whilst all that's going on, Kelvin Hassel is leading, and Paul Poulter gets so sideways and gets the rear end into the wall. Kelvin Hassel with 2 laps left to go. Wim Moonen goes round, takes Vincent LeHook very nearly out.
Yellow.
All those yellows must be referring to the colour of the car as well as the flag that's in operation right now, right in the closing stages of this race. Talk about drama, my goodness me. And there through it all comes our race leader, number 88, Kelvin Hassel.
Outside the 77 already.
We go back on board with Paul Poulter. That's what it's like from a driver's eye perspective. Mid-pack then. There is the green then for the 2-lap shootout, the dash then. As 88, Kelvin Hassel then got the inside line. He's got Xavier van der Meers right behind him. Vincent LeHook to the outside, and Gary Ellis currently in 4th. So Kelvin Hassel then, car number 88. And look at this fighting, baying pack trying to get on terms. This is remarkable stuff. Kelvin Hassel then holds it all together with just 1 lap left to run. Surely the race is his. No, is it? Xavier is right alongside, checkered flag. Wow, that's got to be a photo finish. That was close. Trademark sideways power slide from Xavier van der Meers. Absolutely remarkable finish to that race of high drama. And there is the finish. And confirmation then that Xavier van der Meers just got him by a couple of inches on the line.
19 seems to be the winner, decided the jury on top of the track. 19 is the winner of the first race.
So there we have it then, confirmed by the judge and jury on top of the track. So taking the win then, Xavier van der Meers in second place, Kelvin Hassel, Gary Ellis then in third, Vincent Lehook took fourth place, Bertrand Zor, good result for him in fifth, Paul Poulter then in sixth place with Anton Gonnerson seventh and Jean Vasseur eighth. So as we head into race 2, everyone is getting excited and race controller Roland van der Meers tries to calm us all down.
5, you are too nervous, keep the same speed.
Very well, Roland, I will do my best. It's race 2 on the cards and the green is down. As we see, once again, Tony Hurdle and Lee Maddox leave them away. Lee Maddox, known as Tractor Boy. That's his nickname, his handle. Is it because of an affiliation or an association with Massey Ferguson? I know not. We will try and find out. On board now with Gary Ellis, number 95, who's tracking Xavier van der Meers. There is car number 98, Tony Hurdle, being tracked all the way then by Tractor Boy. Lee Maddox in car number 99. These former ASCAR cars given a little bit of an advantage at the start of these races as their development continues, but they really are getting on terms right now with these former Camso cars, all of them forming the new European late model series. David Brooks, former Superstocks and National Hot Rod star, drives the red car number 5, but there is Tractor Boy, Lee Maddox in car number 99 from Revolution Racing, and there is Tony Hurdle in the paddock. Paul Poulter, Jean Vasseur, back on board with Gary Ellis. Some real paddle rubbing going on there with Andy Andrews as well. Jean Vasseur looks to the inside. Paul Poulter on the outside. Jean Vasseur goes around.
Turn 3, yellow.
So yellow flag. Jean Vasseur is around.
Had er iemand iets gezien? Gentlemen, we restart. 77 at the back of the field.
So
you cannot cut. You keep your line. Stay inside or outside.
Cut the line, cause Jean Vasseur to go round 77. Paul Poulter has to go right to the back for this restart.
And green!
Let's go racing once again then. The restart is on, and my goodness me, Gary Ellis. Wow, absolutely shunts the car in front. It was just a mistake, just an error. The 07, Jean Vasseur then takes out front. He's in the lead, but Gary Ellis has, well, it looks like he's done some panel damage to the front of his car, and there we can see the extent of the damage. The bonnet is right up, he can hardly see where he's going. Incredible, but he's carrying on racing. Jean Vasseur then leads the way in car number 07. And the rest of the pack come hounding through. The awesome noise of those V8s thundering around this Warnerton Speedway. And there you can see the extent of the damage at the front of Gary Ellis's car, which is severely limiting his view. There's Jean Vasseur, 07, who's our race leader.
99 is doing well.
99, he's doing incredibly well. That's Tractor Boy, but this is the man that's in the lead. The 2007 champion, 07, Jean Vasseur then. There's Tractor Boy, and my goodness me, David Brooks and Kelvin Hassel are coming together with a concrete wall, which is hugely unforgiving. And there we can see Dave Brooks then, and there the extent of the damage.
We are ready to go now.
We are ready to go. We're awaiting the green, and we will be away for another fraught fight to the finish.
Green!
So as Roland van der Meers sends him away then, Kurt Dujardin trying very hard around the outside, and look at this, Paul Poulter right alongside Jean Vasseur. Now bear in mind, Poulter has come right from the very back of the grid to try and get back on terms. This is incredible stuff. Jean Vasseur leads them away. Alongside him, Kurt Dujardin in car number 2. Paul Poulter, though, is diving up the inside as we hear metalwork being scraped away from the number 2 car, the matte black Raptor racing car. As the rest of the pack come flying through, there's our race leader, Jean Vasseur, who is being positively hounded by Paul Poulter in car number 77. So hounded, in fact, they make contact. Paul Poulter dived up the inside and almost rode up the side of Jean Vasseur's car. Look at that, you can see the panel damage.
Black flag for 77, black flag 77.
So 77 then for that manoeuvre gets black flagged and disqualified from this race. It's nothing if not hugely dramatic. So Jean Vasseur then goes back into the lead, but once again he is being hounded, but this time by the Raptor racing driver number 2, Kurt Dujardin. So there is Paul Poulter will be pulling off. He's been black flagged, but this is the excitement right at the front then, with just a couple laps left to run for Jean Vasseur and Kurt Dujardin. So Kurt then, all the experience on the quad bike in the desert will count as naught around this tarmac raceway. What's he going to do? Well, he's going to sit back and take a look. It's the last lap. He's got to dive up the outside now. Surely he's got to have a go. It's a do or die effort then around the outside for Kurt Dujardin. The experienced Jean Vasseur, though, it is that takes the checkered flag. Trademark sideways move from Xavier van der Meersch. And another brilliant race from the European Late Model Series here at the Warnerton Speedway. And there eventually our race victor, Jean Vasseur. He took the win. In second place, Kurt Dujardin from the Raptor Racing Team. Third was Xavier van der Meersch. In fourth, good result for the Wim Moonen car. Fifth was Bertrand Zor. Sixth place went to Gary Ellis. Bear in mind, he could hardly see where he was going. Seventh was Anton Gunnarsson. And in eighth place, not on fire this time, Christoph van der Kerkhoff. Welcome back to Europe's only banked short oval, which boasts some culinary delights as well.
Well, Dave, one of the delights of Warnerton Stadium is, of course, the frites. They're famous throughout Belgium, but they're particularly good here. They always come with this cone-shaped thing. It's a very Belgian thing. It's been going on for over 100 years. But you're supposed to have sauces on them. The mayonnaise in particular, there's a great big mayonnaise pump there somewhere. But I've caused a bit of an international incident. I've had mine completely plain, except for a bit of salt.
Simple boy, that Marriott, I ask you, no mayonnaise with your chips.
Okay, gentlemen, 1 lap to go, 1 lap to go.
Okay, we're on the warm-up lap for the feature final. Awful lot of work been going on in the paddock area. Regrettably, Tony Hurdle not joining us. He's got fuel pressure problems, and Kelvin Hassel from his earlier accident, the damage not enabling him to get that car back out on track. And overzealous driving from Kurt Dujardin in Heat 2 means that he's starting this feature final right from the back of the grid as we go racing. Green, green, green. And again, the tractor boy, Lee Maddox, right out in front, is leading them away in this, the feature final. And as we go into this feature final, it really is tight at the top, points-wise, between this guy, who we're on board with, Gary Ellis, and also Xavier van der Meersch. So the points crucial in this feature final of the European Late Model Series here at the Warnerton Speedway. So car number 99 leads the way then, the Revolution racing driver. It's a tractor boy, Lee Maddox, coming under some pressure now from the blue car number 71, that's Bertrand Zor. This really is a taste of America in Europe. It's the closest you'll get to real NASCAR racing here in Europe. This 3/8 mile oval with a 10 to 12 degree banking. It really is a slice of America here in Belgium. And there, very, very sideways goes Xavier van der Meersch. There's Bertrand Zor then being tracked by Vincent Lehook. Car number 71, Bertrand Zor, the blue and white machine, blue and red machine even. There's the blue and white machine, that's Xavier van der Meersch in car number 19. So there is Gary Ellis in car number 95, the yellow and red Roots V8 racing machine. In front we can see Xavier van der Meersch, we can see Jean Vasseur. There's Bertrand Zor and Vincent Lehouk. And Ellis right now alongside Xavier van der Meersch. He really is on a charge through the field. So right in the boot of Xavier van der Meersch, Andy Andrews, another guy with huge American racing experience because he is an American. second in car number 17. We're right alongside him with Gary Ellis. We're riding on board with him. And Gary Ellis makes the move count. He's through. And now all he's got to do is get past Xavier van der Meers. Hey, that's no easy task. Xavier, like Gary, knows this track absolutely inside out, and Paul Poulter is still there. He is still there. You can see the scars and the damage from earlier skirmishes in his racing here at Warnerton Speedway. Paul Poulter, renowned as being a really forceful driver. So Gary Ellis then, we're back on board. He knows that he's got Paul Poulter hounding him. Xavier van der Meers will know that Gary Ellis is trying to find a way round. We've got Wim Moonen, Jean Vasseur alongside as well. Jean Vasseur goes a little bit wide, takes a little tap into Wim Moonen's car, but 95 Gary Ellis, the yellow and red machine. There's Paul Poulter in 77, Jean Vasseur, Xavier van der Meers, Wim Moonen, Gary Ellis, all fighting together there in a bit of a pack, and Jean Vasseur breaks clear. Xavier van der Meers, car number 19, 95 Gary Ellis, this 3/8 mile oval here at the Warnerton Speedway. And again, you can see Paul Poulter trying so very hard, giving it absolutely 110%. It's had an interesting excursion here at Warnerton Speedway. And you can see just some of the results of that excursion. Front corner really quite damaged now, some panel work bent up there. So Gary Ellis then does the impossible, gets past Xavier van der Meers. Now whether Xavier has some sort of a problem, because he looked to go past really rather easily. So Xavier van der Meers now is behind Gary Ellis, and Paul Poulter also seems to be trailing a bit as well. Right up front, big battle going on. Car number 5 is the National Hot Rod Superstock star Dave Brooks then. He's got Jean Vasseur and Gary Ellis breathing down his neck. Lee Maddox keeps to the inside, keeps a nice tight line. There's Dave Brooks. Jean Vasseur is up the inside. And look at this, he's through on the inside. It's very nearly through. They do go 3 abreast. Absolutely amazing stuff from these European late model cars. And Xavier van der Meers, well, like a viper waiting to pounce, he saw his opportunity and then he was through up the inside and took a lot as David Brooks. Yellow. He has a disaster as he loses his bonnet and loses it big time. So finally the grid order is set then for the feature final resumption
Number 4
of play.
outside, yes.
And right at the front, what a battle this is going to be. Jean Vasseur and Xavier van der Meers. Then we see Paul Poulter.
Green.
And there is the green then, as once again Roland van der Meers sends these European late models away. The Fast and Furious Warnerton Speedway. And Jean Vasseur then straight back into the lead. There's Gary Ellis trying very, very hard to get back on terms. 77, Paul Poulter in there as well. Vincent LeHook in car number 66, but it's 07 that he's leading them away. Jean Vasseur, the Camso champion in 2007. He's got Xavier van der Meers right behind him. There's Gary Ellis trying to find a way through between Vincent LeHook and Paul Poulter. Here at the Warnerton Speedway as Gary Ellis tries to find a way around the car number 77. That's Paul Poulter in the green and black car. Paul Poulter is currently third. Gary Ellis trying to get that third position and wrestle it away from Paul Poulter. He really is trying ever so hard around the outside. There's Xavier van der Meers, and here is Gary Ellis. Let's see if he can make it stick. Trying so hard. He really is on terms right now with Paul Poulter. These two drivers hugely experienced. Paul Poulter just back from racing in the States. Well, Gary Ellis goes through, uses the maybe advantage he has of knowing this Warnerton Speedway inside out. He goes through in the third place. Paul Poulter now tracking him fourth. Vincent LeHook is fifth. Now with just 3 laps left to run. This is phenomenal. Look at this. Back-marking cars may really come into play a part in this feature final. It's Jean Vasseur, it's Xavier van der Meers, then it's car number 95, Gary Ellis, and then Paul Poulter in 4th place. Go back on board with Gary Ellis, and
yellow,
wow, he had nothing to do. He'd got nowhere to go. He ended up jacking Lee Maddox in car number 99. What an absolute disaster for Gary Ellis. And that, of course, will mean he will drop a load of points. So there's Rick Netton in car number 4.
Then 95.
Who spun around, and Gary had got absolutely nowhere to go, took avoiding action. Lee Maddox had stopped, so Gary ended up jacking him. And there is the stricken Gary Ellis, car number 95, as race officials straight on the scene.
We have experienced drivers, but also an experienced race manager.
Oh, an experienced race manager is going to send them away then, and it is really going to be a one-lap dash to the finish then. Pole position, Jean Vasseur. Right alongside
green!
Xavier Van der Meers as we get the green from Roland Van der Meers. Who's this going to be that shows at the front? It's Jean Vasseur from the inside then. Surely he can hold on for literally just a few yards. He does so. Jean Vasseur takes it. Xavier Van der Meers, and all hell breaks out behind. Wow, that really was a fight to the finish then, and well done to Jean Vasseur. Victorious in that feature final as Vincent Leherc, who was involved in that skirmish.
Good finish. Movemental race.
Mental race or monumental race, I'm not sure, but there's a race winner, Jean Vasseur, as we take a look at the way the space frame Chevy powered stock cars finish. Jean Vasseur taking the win. Xavier Van der Meers was second. Kurt Dujardin was third. Christoph van der Kerkhoff fourth. Anton Gonnerson in fifth place, with Bertrand Zor in sixth place. Right now, let's take a look at the driver standings then on the championship points chart. And right at the top is Xavier Van der Meers with 620 points. Gary Ellis down to second with 572 points. Christoph van der Kerkhoff third with 525 points. Then we see Jean Vasseur with 512, Wim Moonen with 456, and Bruce Andrews with 419 points. Feature final winner, Jean Vasseur. What a race. Once again, it's been a day full of drama, full of action. You've kept your head, and now you've taken the feature final.
Yeah, just as well I did it because I deserve it. I think that day today, and it was really great, really good. Good fight, really great.
Third place then, Raptor Racing, Kurt Dujardin. What a fantastic race.
It was a beautiful race, and Raptor Racing is the best team. I had the punishment, so I had to start in the back. Next time I will start in the front. Nobody can take me. Nobody.
We're back at Warnerton in 2 weeks' time. Then we head off to Lydden Hill for our first UK race on June the 27th. We're at the Warnerton Speedway for round 4 of the European Late Model Series, and in today's programme we're going to see 2 scintillating, we hope, heats. Now, of course, the heats count equally in terms of points, as does the feature final. Already a couple of drivers significant right at the top of that championship table. That's Gary Ellis and Xavier Van der Meers, but all along there's new drivers joining in this series, and one of those who's had a very, very long association with the Pocket Rocket Legend cars, Keith Wally. And Keith, you've chosen to bring a former SCSA car, an immaculate it is too.
Thank you.
Why?
Well, basically, as you know, I'm really big into the Legends. We lease cars out. I'm also acting steward for the Legends. We thought about going back and racing a Legend this year, but after we gave it a lot of thought, it would be very difficult to race against guys that I'm stewarding. Again, maybe I'm going to discipline a guy, maybe he's not going to like that too much, and maybe next time out it might be bad for me. So we decided on a totally different formula. That was worked out at the start of the season. We had the chance to take in this former ASCAR, ex-Martin Heath car, a guy that lives quite close to me and a good friend of mine. So we managed to put a deal together, got it all sorted out. A little bit of a rush to get here for this meeting, but we've done a lot of work on the car. Still not there, probably 100%, but we're getting there. It seems to work at the moment. I've been able to put some pretty hot times in out there on my own. Put me out there with another 15 or 20 cars and we don't know what's going to happen, but we'll see, we're hopeful.
Another one of the new drivers to join us here at Warnerton Speedway for this round is Winston Graham from Middlesex. And Winston, as I understand it, not the very first time you've been in one of these cars.
No, I was introduced to this sport about 4 years ago from Tony Roots, who I came along to do the school. I did that for a day, enjoyed it, and then the next day was the race. So I sort of jumped in at the deep end, but I enjoyed it. I had a good race. I had 2 heats and a final. I should have finished the race in about 4th place, but I was knocked out at the end, but that was good. It was a good experience.
So you're absolute proof then that being in the racing school really urges you to go out there and actually compete proper.
Oh yeah, it's something different. I mean, usually you don't get that sort of training anywhere. So, you know, once coming out doing the school, following Tony Roots around, as he's the old hand here, so you follow him around, you learn all the lines, you learn the braking points, and then you sort of get the experience from there. You get confident because you know they're quite good to drive, lots of power. It puts a big smile on your face, so yeah, it's really good.
And already there's a bit of a battle emerging right at the top of that championship table between Xavier van der Meersch and also Gary Ellis. Those two will be hoping to score very well in today's race meeting. One half of that is Gary Ellis, the other half, Xavier van der Meersch. Xavier, is that how you feel at the moment? Are you looking towards the end of the season already and thinking every point counts?
Every point counts, but absolutely not the end of the season. It's so far away. And if one race you had a trouble, you can be 4th or 3rd, or you can be far away.
Now, of course, in the last final here at the Warnerton Speedway, misfortune befell your biggest competitor, Gary Ellis. So that's played into your hands a little bit.
A little bit, yeah. But maybe tomorrow it's my turn.
Well, of course, there is that about it. Now, something that we were talking about as we head towards today's final, which so far is the longest race that the European Late Model Series have run, 60 laps, your very flamboyant sideways driving style, is that good for that race distance or bad for that race distance?
Absolutely not good. I have to be very quiet during 35 laps, just follow and then see what happens. And then you have to attack. Hopefully it's then a neutralization, and then you can come together, and then we will see. But it's absolutely not good to drive sideways.
Number 95, Gary Ellis. Now, Gary, you're 50% of that championship table battle that's going on at the moment with Xavier van der Meersch. Regrettably, your last meeting here, the final wasn't the way you would have chosen it, I don't think.
No, unfortunately there was someone spun and all the cars, as we've come round the corner racing, me, Jean and Xavier, there was a big gaggle of cars and unfortunately I hit the back of one of them. There was nowhere to go, so couldn't stop.
Now, of course, every single point counts, and even at this early stage in the championship, Gary, I guess as you're sitting there in that driving seat, you must be thinking towards that.
Yes and no, I just go and race and whatever will be, won't it? So, yeah, I don't worry too much about it. I'll just go out there and race the car.
And here are the driver standings then. Xavier van der Meersch in the lead currently with 620 points. Then we see that man, Gary Ellis, with 572. Christophe van der Kerkhoff, who's not racing, 525 points. Hope he's back soon. Jean Vasseur has 512 points. Then we see Wim Moonen with 456. And Bruce Andy Andrews, the American, with 419 points. That's the way the table looks so far as we are about to go racing. The two former SCSA cars should be joined by Keith Wally. He's stuck in the paddock with fuel pressure problems, given to understand. So it's just Tony Hurdle and Lee Maddox at the front as we get the green, and there goes Tony Hurdle and Lee Maddox, and the rest of the field come flying through. Gorgeous sunny day here, and we are going racing. Fantastic stuff. There's Gary Ellis, there's Xavier van der Meersch, but right at the very front then, 98, Tony Hurdle, driving for the Revolution team in car number 98. These cars really are getting to grips with this European Late Model Series and integrating nicely into this. And the addition of 88 Keith Wally is a good addition indeed. Let's just hope he gets out on track later in this race meeting. Meantime, look at this. 17, Bruce, Andy Andrews coming through to take up a third place already. So we're leading Tony Hurdle, then we see Lee Maddox in second place, then it's Bruce Andrews, then further down the pack we see the 77 car being driven by the ex-National Hot Rod star Dave Brooks here at Warnerton this weekend, but Andy Andrews taking a look up the inside of car number 99, that's tractor boy Lee Maddox. So Bruce Andy Andrews then is through into second place, closely being followed by driver number 4, that's Frederic Bernier in the all-white Roots V8 racing car. But now it's down to car number 17, Andrews, to reel in Tony Hurdle, who's leading the way. Tony Hurdle then in car number 98. Really has got this car on song, a little bit of sideways out of that bend. So Andy Andrews then, car number 17, he's the one with the work to do to try and get alongside Tony Hurdle and trying to pose Tony Hurdle. Tony goes very, very wide, and Andrews is through. Now this 60-year-old veteran, Andy Andrews then, one of the guys that was very instrumental in helping put this series together, and we can see him disappearing now. He has got the lead. Now interestingly, 60 years of age, used to race in Florida. Bruce, of course, used to race with Buzzy Reutemann, whose son David has just won his first NASCAR Sprint Cup race. So he leads the way in car number 17 then, Andy Andrews. Already had one win in the season so far, and we're on board with Tony Hurdle, and we can see that car in front of us. Tony battling with this SCSA car. Car number 77 being driven by Dave Brooks. He's coming under pressure right now from Gary Ellis and Xavier Vandermeer. They're fighting over 5th, 6th, 7th places. This is exciting stuff indeed. So Dave Brooks, plenty of short oval experience. He's driving the Tony Roots car number 77. Driver number 4, doing very well, getting very much on terms with these European late models. That's Frederic Bernier in the all-white number 4 car. But here we are, 77, 95, and Jean Vasseur in 07. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Through the pack. Oh, and Dave Brooks goes round. Just a little bit too much and got it sideways. Gary Ellis in car number 95 now. We go back on board with Tony Hurdle, and we can see just how disappeared into the distance Andy Andrews has. There is Gary Ellis in car number 95 then, pursuing car number 98. That's Tony Hurdle. Then we see Frederic Bernier in car number 4. And still the Tony Roots car number 77 stuck out of harm's way right on the inner part of the circuit here as Gary Ellis goes past Tony Hurdle in car number 98. And now Gary will tear up the tarmac in pursuit of Andy Andrews to try and put some desperately needed points back on his quest for the leadership and to take the battle to Xavier Vandermeer, who is leading the points at the moment. And look how quickly he's building a bit of a gap and trying to reel in that race leader, Andy Andrews. That's 95, Gary Ellis then, who is currently in second place in this European Late Model Series heat at the Warnerton Speedway. And already you can see just how much he has pulled away. So towards the outside goes Jean Vasseur. Jean Vasseur goes past Tony Hurdle. Another one that is up there fighting for that championship. 07 Jean Vasseur, 95 then Gary Ellis, second place. Jean Vasseur is now third. Leading the way is driver number 17, that's Andy Andrews. There's your second place driver, number 95, Gary Ellis. And back down into fourth place now is this guy. We're on board with him. And that's Tony Hurdle in car number 98. There's our race leader, who takes the checkered flag, and a fine victory. Second victory this season for the American driver, Andy Andrews. Tony Hurdle then, he takes the checkered flag as well. He'll be pleased with his result. Each and every race, these former SCSA cars getting closer and closer and closer. Absolutely scintillating stuff from this European Late Model Series. Let's go through the results for you then. Andy Andrews took the win. Gary Ellis was second. Jean Vasseur was third. Tony Hurdle, fourth place. Xavier Vandermeer in fifth, with Frederic Bernier taking sixth place. Wim Moonen seventh, and Kelvin Hassel took eighth place. Andy Andrews, fantastic, second win of the year. You look a bit hot. The sun is beating down. It must be hot in that car.
Oh, it's warm, but it's fun, you know. And when you get to my age, you take every win when you get the opportunity.
Well, the way you just carved yourself through the traffic, using years and years of race experience, I guess.
Well, we tried, you know, they fell the right way, so.
And of course, with the sunshine and the way it is today, the heat inside the car must be reminiscent of Florida.
Just about. The only difference is there it was hot like this at night.
Listen, go and enjoy the spoils of your victory.
Thank you.
So while the European late model stars of the future have some fun, bash, we're going to take a quick break. Welcome back to Warnerton Speedway in the sunshine for this late May bank holiday meeting. We're going to delve deep and go behind the scenes to find out some of the characters and also some of the cars that are making this series really tick.
The big thing about this new late European stock car series, it actually combines two different kinds of cars. Here we've got one of the old Camso cars. They've raced around this speedway a number of years. Now, they are based on tubular steel chassis. Just look down here and you see the great big space frame here. Under the bonnet is a Chevrolet V8 engine. It still uses the carburetor, just as they do in NASCAR, of course. Now, the other series that is taking part, the cars from the old ASCAR series, which race, of course, around the big oval at Rockingham. We've got several of those joining in, which has made this late model series. And here we're looking at one of these ASCAR machines. Now, just look in the engine bay, we don't have a carburetor, we've got full fuel injection. So these cars will probably give a little bit more horsepower, but they are set up for both road and oval courses. The two courses are very different. These cars can turn left or right. The cars from the old Camso series, they can only turn left, and they're actually set asymmetrically. Another difference between the two cars is these Camso machines only have a 2-speed gearbox, just 2 levers. A lever you push forward and actually hold the clutch in to move off the line, and the other lever takes second gear, and that's what they use all the way around. It's very different with the old ASCAR cars. They have a full 4-speed gearbox, just like a conventional machine. So there is another difference between Camso and indeed ASCAR. Also, you know, the roof line here on the old ASCAR is 3 inches taller than the cars from the Belgian series. So really what's happening at the moment, they're trying to develop the ASCARs to have the same pace as the Camso machines, and they're getting closer and closer. It's a very interesting comparison. All these cars, of course, coming out of the United States, and all with huge amounts of horsepower.
Kelvin Hassel then, formerly car number 88, who I always referred to as the rocker because of the chocolate box good looks, the long hair, and the fact that you're just racing to have fun.
That's absolutely right.
So 88 has gone and 13 is in. Is that because bad luck and you seem to have a bit of a relationship?
The first races I would call bad luck. A lot of other people would call it bad driving, but I'd call it bad luck. And we thought, why not go the whole hog and just have the number 13 on the car and be done with?
And you've done that, and first race with that number, you've finished the race, and there doesn't appear to be a panel bent.
No, but let's not count our chickens before they're hatched. There's 2 more races to go, and it is looking a bit lively out there, so...
And just to almost reinforce my argument, Kelvin, the car number that you had, 88, has now gone to Keith Wally, who's joined us for this round. He's in the pit lane, ready to go, and his fuel pump packs up.
No comment.
Nothing to do with you?
Nothing to do with me.
Say nothing to do with you, my goodness me. 88 Keith Wally not starting once again because the fuel pump continues to give problems. So we just have these 2 ASCARs back out on track. The good looking car, the blue, black and red car, the Bertrand Zor goes through as once again we get this race underway, slightly longer, 25 laps. Previous race was 20 laps. So let's see how we do. It's Tractor Boy and Tony Hurdle out at front then in the former SCSA cars. We're on board with Tony Hurdle once again. Piles the power on now down the straight into the turn. Another awesome sound of that V8 power then, and there indeed is the car number 98, Tony Hurdle. Let me see Lee Maddox, Tractor Boy, and then the European late model cars come thundering through. Now, every single race, every single lap, these cars are getting better and better and better. And Tony Hurdle really is now beginning to pile the pressure on. There's Bertrand Zor. Tony, of course, the only pressure he's got is to keep out there in front. Lee Maddox following close behind, but look at this, great showing from Bertrand Zor, another one of our French competitors in the European Late Model Series, driving car number 71. And then the rest of them come thundering through this real thunderdrome of a stadium that is the Warnerton Speedway. 98 Tony Hurdle leading the way. Team Revolution Racing, Dwayne Kidd, team principal, lots of experience at the Rockingham Oval, transferring all that experience here to Warnerton right now, and of course those English circuits that we're going to be visiting, including Liddon Hill, the Foxhall Heath Raceway and Hendersford Hills. Great move there from Jean Vasseur, trying to get on the inside of 77. That's the battle back there in 8th, 9th and 10th place. So 07, Jean Vasseur. Gary Ellis is right on his outside now, and driving the Tony Roots car, number 77, is Dave Brooks, former Superstocks and National Hot Rod star, who really is loving his time in this European Late Model Series. So Gary has got the outside line, Jean Vasseur is on the inside. The only problem with that is he's got Dave Brooks in front of him. But of course Gary has got to get past Dave Brooks. Jean Vasseur is now being joined by Xavier Van der Meersch. Real battle at the top of the points chart between these two. 95 Gary Ellis and this guy, number 19, Xavier Van der Meersch. And look at this, really is nip and tuck, 4 cars there in a pack together, pushing as hard as they can. Dave Brooks stays down low, Gary Ellis high outside. 77, 95. Then we see 07, champion in 2007, Jean Vasseur. Would love to get that championship cup with his name back on it again. But 95 Gary Ellis appears to have got the measure now, or has he? A little bit of a wobble on there. Dave Brooks stays down, Gary Ellis finally goes through. So there he is, car number 95, Gary Ellis. Then it's 07, Jean Vasseur. We can hear the commands being given by our race director, Roland van der Meersch, as once again we go back on board right now with our race leader, Tony Hurdle. And then we see car number 11 then pulling off.
The race is going on.
Great feature being able to listen to exactly what our race director is telling those drivers. All those drivers, of course, equipped with earpieces in their crash helmets, so they can hear a direct link to the race director. They can hear him, but they can't talk back to him, which is probably just as well. 95, Gary Ellis then, trying to get past Wim Moonen right now in the all-yellow car. Wim is a Dutch competitor here in the European Late Model Series. Jean Vasseur following as well. So there, Gary Ellis gets past Wim Moonen. Wim Moonen, former lightning rod champion here at Warnerton, knows this place like the back of his hand as we go back on board and see the errant Winston Graham car, number 11, parked up against the wall. As Tony gets very sideways, he comes under pressure from Bertrand Zor. Look at this pack for 4th, 5th, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th places. And this is where the battle is. Tony Hurdle, who's leading the way in car number 98. And it's car number 71, Bertrand Zor. They really are so close. Bertrand Zor is virtually on Tony Hurdle's back bumper. He dives inside and a car spins. We can see the smoke from a car spinning round there. So there's Tony Hurdle, and there we can see it looks like Xavier Van der Meersch. We have a yellow flag and one of the Raptor racing cars, treble 2 for Jos Janssen. He's gone round.
And I put the cars in position now. So 98 inside, 71 outside. 07 inside, 95
There we can hear the places being dictated by our race director. So Tony Hurdle then, he is under some pressure now because he really wants to put an ASCAR on the podium and be the first winner for one of those SCSA cars. Here he's in first place. We've got just one lap left. And this is it. Bertrand Sora's outside. 98, Tony Hurdle takes the win. And for Team Revolution Racing, it is the first win for a former SCSA car in this European Late Model Series. They'll be jumping up and down on the concrete of the pit wall. What a fantastic effort from Tony Hurdle in car number 98. Brilliant stuff indeed, and here is the result then. Tony Hurdle takes the win. Bertrand Zor, brilliant show from him in second place. Jean Vasseur third. Gary Ellis fourth. Wim Moonen fifth place. Xavier Vandermeers finished sixth. Frederick Bernier was seventh, with Lee Maddox, tractor boy, bringing eighth place home. And the celebrations begin. Well, fantastic news for Tony Hurdle then. In this, the European Late Model Series, it's the first win for an ASCAR.
Yeah, absolutely superb. You know, we've had some problems, you know, setting the cars up for the track since we joined the series. We've had fuel pressure with the car last round, so the lads have done a sterling job at Revolution in the last few days getting the car fixed up, and it's all paid off now. So it's great stuff.
Well, that's it for our programme today from the Warnerton Speedway in the blistering heat here in Belgium. We've had two fantastic heats, and in our next programme, join us for what will be an awesome 60-lap final. And you can be sure that the top guys will be gunning through the pack to take the win. Welcome to Warnerton Speedway, home of the European Late Model Stock Car Racing Series. And in today's programme, a feature final like no other. The longest race thus far for the European Late Model Series, 60 laps of hot rock in action to come. But before we get into that feature final, we're going to delve deep and go behind the scenes to find out some of the characters and also some of the cars that are making this series really tick.
So when the car Constantine's still drive it.
Yeah, it stretches, it don't fall off. Oh, they're unbelievable.
We're with Wim Moonen, the Flying Dutchman in this European Late Model Series. Now, you look a very accomplished driver. What's your racing experience?
Not so very much. I did before the Camso V8 or the Euro Late Models. I did lighting rods for about 4 years, I believe. Yes, 4 years. Then before I did privé cars and super privé cars. So I did all kinds of car racing.
So you are very much an oval racer then?
Yes, I love it. I love it. I prefer it, the oval racing against the long tracks. Yes.
There's very little to choose between some of the drivers. You're all very close.
Yeah. That's because we know each other. We know each other's driving style. We have respect for each other's cars, and then you get nice races, I think.
Very much so, and it looks absolutely fantastic from a spectator's point of view. From a viewer's point of view, we think it's terribly exciting. What's it actually feel like to be sitting in there, Wim?
Yeah, it's a big thrill. Yes, it's like your stomach is turning around when you hit the throttle. It's the nicest race I ever did.
And what are your hopes? What are your aspirations? Of course, you want to be champion this year.
Yeah, who doesn't? Everyone wants to be a champion. Last year I was third. I was very happy with it.
Well, Wim Moonen, very modest man, didn't happen to mention the fact that he was twice former lightning rod champion here at the Warnerton Speedway, so he does know the place very, very well indeed. Some of the characters there getting ready for what is going to be the longest race, but preceding that longest race were two shorter races, and this is the first one of them. We can see Gary Ellis there, Jean Vasseur on board with Tony Hurdle, taking a look at the closing stages of what was Heat 1 for them, and that was our race winner. The veteran American Andy Andrews taking the win. Checkered flags being dealt there by race director Roland van der Meers. We go back on board right now with Tony Hurdle, who had a short last lap dash finish, and was he going to bring home victory for the first time for a former SCSA car here at the Warnerton Speedway? He was under tremendous pressure from Jean Vasseur and Bertrand Zor, but when it mattered most, Tony Hurdle held it all together and took the checkered flag to celebrate the first win for the SCSA cars and their integration into this series, proving to be a huge success. So the results of those two sprint races will sort the grid and means the victors will start further back. Right now, what's Andrew Marriott up to?
Well, racing here at the Warnerton Stadium is an all-consuming passion, of course, for Tony Roots. But for his wife, Lynn, well, she's got some other hobbies. And one of them is gardening. Just look down here and you can see this wonderful array of different pot plants. And, of course, spotted amongst them, you'll see various different gnomes. Now, one of Lynn's other passions is playing cards. In fact, Lynn's over there now playing cards, as you can see. And if you just turn round and come back with me, follow me round, down here are some gnomes playing cards. Yes, it's certainly an ace in the pack.
Oh, Andrew Marriott playing his cards right, as always, as we get lined up. And at last, Keith Wally is on track. It's the 60-lap feature final, the longest race these European late model cars have run thus far, and absolutely everybody is out there ready for this marathon effort. So fuel pump sorted at last for the number 88 car. Now that's Keith Wally, well known in legend racing circles, as we found out in a previous program. But Keith is out there on track and he's leading the way in this feature final right now in car number 88. He's being hounded down by the tractor boy Lee Maddox. Coming through the pack already is Kelvin Hassel, who's now driving car number 13. There we can see Kelvin Hassel then towards the outside of car number 88. Dave Brooks in car number 77. There's Bertrand Zor, Wim Moonen. And then it's 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th places coming through right now. Bear in mind, this race is 60 laps long. And Kelvin Hassel goes through to take the lead in car number 13, past the immaculate number 88 car of Keith Wally. It really is a credit to him and his team. A beautiful looking car, that 88 car. But it is 13, Kelvin Hassel, with a new number for this meeting, leading this 60-lap feature final around the Warnerton Speedway. So Kelvin, who suffered some bad luck, it's all come good for him now with a new number as we go on board, and we're tracking Jean Vasseur, who's the car right in front of us in 07. We're on board with Gary Ellis, car number 95. And there we can see 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th place all coming through. We're on board once again with Gary Ellis as he's fighting through the traffic. The sun is beating down. Gary's car beginning to smoke for some reason, but while all that's going on, our race leader is car number 13, Kelvin Hassel. Kelvin again, done all sorts of motorsport, but loves being in this European late model series. We can see the smoke there. Race leader, driver number 13 then, Kelvin Hassel. Lots of experience of racing all sorts of things, has Kelvin, on short ovals, on long circuits, you name it, Kelvin has driven it. But he's loving his time in this European late model series. So there's Gary Ellis we're back on board with, and that smoke seems to have dissipated out of the way now. Jean Vasseur is in front of him. In fact, there's quite a pack of cars there. You can just see that smoke once again from Gary Ellis's car number 95. And more smoke from Xavier Vandermeer's car. That looked like flames. Well, my goodness me. Drama indeed. We thought we saw some smoke earlier on from Gary Ellis's car. And we're on board with Gary Ellis now, as he ditches the car into the wall. Obviously there is a problem. We can see the smoke. Xavier Vandermeer's car is in the pit lane, and Gary has thrown the steering wheel, jumps out of the car. Now what is the problem here? Obviously there was smoke and he's concerned about it. Well, we're going to have to find out exactly what happened after this break. Welcome back to the Warnerton Speedway as the smoke now begins to die down. What drama indeed for this driver, Xavier van der Meersch. Fuel leak caused some of that bodywork to catch fire, but he's back out again, got it all sorted. Not so the case for Gary Ellis. A fractured oil pressure gauge pipe has ended this final for him, which will really have some consequences for the championship table. At the end of this feature final, we're on board with Tony Hurdle, who's right at the middle of this pack. And this pack of cars, Bertrand Zor is the car that's right in front of him. And we can see once again, it is 13 leading them away. Kelvin Hassel, the newly numbered Kelvin Hassel. Xavier van der Meersch, of course, gone right to the back of the pack now, but it is Kelvin Hassel in car number 13. The resumption of this race, he leads them away. Then we see Dave Brooks driving the Tony Roots car number 77. Back on board we go with Tony Hurdle. Bear in mind that SCSA car is somewhat heavier because of the heavier chassis and heavier gearbox. Hurdle currently 12th place.
Inside the white line, now it's okay, it's okay.
So, race director tells us which side of the white line that we need to be. Kelvin Hassel, car number 13, leads them away and building up a bit of a lead already, but he is being hounded down by Dave Brooks in car number 77. We know the Tony Roots car, this green and black car, is a very, very competitive car indeed. Dave Brooks has got loads of racing experience, but so too is that guy, for a young guy. Indeed, he knows what he's doing. The black and yellow Kelvin Hassel machine, driver number 13. So back on board we go with Tony Hurdle. We can see Andy Andrews in front of us. He, of course, already been a race victor, but look at Xavier van der Meersch. We can just see the back of his car as he's carving through this pack from the earlier problems he had in this long-distance feature final here at the Warnerton Speedway. 60 laps in the heat here as Bertrand Zor in car 71 gets cast aside, wide outside. Tony Hurdle driving a brilliant race. As I mentioned just a few moments ago, those SCSA cars are a bit heavier, so he really has got his work cut out. There's another one of those cars in car number 88. And look at this, Xavier van der Meersch absolutely on a flyer. Incredible stuff from him. Tony Hurdle on the inside of former race winner, or earlier race winner. That's Andy Andrews in car 17. There's 88, Keith Wally. There is Xavier van der Meersch. I'm not going to say he's red hot, because he was hot just a while ago, as the back of his car was on fire, but it's all sorted. He's back out there again, and boy, is he going for it. So right now, Tony Hurdle is pushing his teammate, the Revolution Racing driver, Tractor Boy, Lee Maddox. But there is Xavier van der Meersch, a battle going on with Xavier van der Meersch. There's 07 Sean Vasseur, who's up to third place right now. Bear in mind that this guy right in front of us, Lee Maddox, it's only his second meeting in these hugely powerful European late model cars. Wim Moonen battling there with Xavier van der Meersch in car number 19. It's yellow versus blue. Wim Moonen down low, inside, then to the outside goes Xavier van der Meersch, and in one fell swoop, he's past him. He knows the sideways style is not the right style for this very long distance race. You've got to try and conserve your tyres. You've got to work hard at it. But there, in car number 13, is our race leader, Kelvin Hassel, who's up against some back-marking traffic now. And he's got to get through those back markers. He's got past Tony Hurdle. He's got Bertrand Zor right now in car number 71. That's the blue and red machine you can see right in front of us. Look at him weaving his way through. Car number 66, LeHook. He's got past him as well. Jean Vasseur is right there on terms. 07, of course. He was champion in 2007 and would dearly love to be champion in 2009. He really is on the bumper right now of Kelvin Hassel in car number 13. He goes wide outside. So it's 13, it's 07. Jean Vasseur, he's known as the fastest frog. And John, being French, has got a Scottish wife. You may have seen her earlier on playing cards with Andrew Marriott. And Jean is a car refinisher by trade. In fact, he paints many of these European late model cars. Right now, he's trying to paint the side of Kelvin Hassel as he's desperate to get into the lead. And and he's done it. He is through. The flamethrowing 07 car is through. The back-marking Keith Wally car there is car number 88. Beautiful looking car. Absolutely amazing stuff from Sean Vasseur in 07 as the rest of the pack come thundering through. There's Andy Andrews. There is 07 Sean Vasseur. So he has got the work to do now to keep his head out front there as we go back on board with Tony Hurdle, who's tracking the Tony Roots car, the green 77 Tony Roots car. There is Sean Vasseur and Andy Andrews, using all his race experience to do it exactly the right way and let the fastest cars through. So we can see then 77 goes into the wall. Dave Brooks just scrubs that wall. Looks to be okay. We're on board then with Tony Hurdle in car number 99. Brilliant shot of that 07 car. And yellow flag then for the 77 car that was into the wall. Now bear in mind, all of these cars powered by Chevy engines, even though the body styles, the front, there you can see that 77 car. The front of these cars would indicate maybe Pontiac, maybe Ford, maybe Chevrolet. But in fact, they are indeed powered by Chevy engines. Okay, so restart about to get underway, and the lead that Jean Vasseur had built up will count as naught now, as he's got to do it all over again as the cars are back in one big pack. And let's see how he does. Look at this. Given the early dramas for Xavier Van der Meers, unbelievably is up to third place already. Wim Moonen is fourth. He's second. Xavier Van der Meers has gone through into second. Battle for second is going on between him and Kelvin Hassel, and he's won that battle. So it's Sean Vasseur who's leading. Then it's Xavier Van der Meers. Then it's Kelvin Hassel. Then it's Wim Moonen. Remarkable, remarkable comeback for Xavier Van der Meers. So Jean Vasseur it is then that leads the way in 07. That gorgeous looking car. The very smart number 19 behind, and he just scrubs the wall as well. Tyres, of course, have been under immense pressure during this long distance race, and surely some of those tyres will have gone off by now. You wouldn't know so. The sheer speed of these cars is breathtaking. 07, Sean Vasseur. Number 19, Xavier Van der Meers, who really has done wonders to come right from the very, very back of the grid and is through into second place. Bear in mind that his big competitor at the top of the championship table is out of this race. So it's 07, Jean Vasseur, then it's Xavier Van der Meers, the European Late Model Series here at the Warnerton Speedway in the sunshine. Motor Racing Entertainment, absolutely superb it is. 19, Xavier Van der Meers. Kelvin Hassel seemingly having much better luck in that number 13 car, is in third place. And this really has been a test of machines and a test of men as well. The longest race so far for this European Late Model Series, 60 laps in the searing heat at Warnerton. Jean Vasseur, 07. Then it's Xavier Van der Meers. Then it's Kelvin Hassel, who you have to say is tracking Xavier all the way. Then we go back to the back marking cars, but there's our number one, Jean Vasseur, he leads. Then we see Xavier Van der Meers, and then we see Kelvin Hassel, then it's Wim Moonen, and then Bruce Andrews and Bertrand Saw is in there as well. They're battling for 4th, 5th and 6th places. But 07, Jean Vasseur, he's right at the front of the pack. And you have to say, looking at this, that given the earlier dramas that befell Xavier Van der Meers, you have to wonder whether his erratic driving style has meant his tyres have gone off, because Jean Vasseur appears to be able to pull away a little bit. Or is Xavier Van der Meers lulling everyone into a false sense of security and is going to come in like an absolute viper right at the end? Well, 07 Jean Vasseur now gets past once again the back-marking 88 car of Keith Wally. We will wait and see if he is going to pounce in second place at the moment. Xavier Van der Meers seems to be getting ever closer now. Flames out of the back of the 07 car. There is Lee Maddox, the tractor boy. Big Massey Ferguson fan, but he's loving his time in this European Late Model Series as well. Bear in mind that he's got no racing experience as such, doing exceptionally well in this European Late Model Series, and the reason is tractor boy and East Anglian farmer, that's why. So 07 then, Jean Vasseur, and we see him go past what is now the back-marking Tony Hurdle, because we're on board with Tony. So Jean Vasseur really is doing exceptionally well. Tony Hurdle back there in 6th or 7th place. But you can see just the pace that Jean Vasseur is able to bring to this feature final. I was going to say nurse that car. He hasn't nursed the car because there's nothing wrong with it. But what he has done, he's driven this race with his head. He's not overcooked the tyres. He's made sure that he's there and he's conserved everything. Much experience, of course, of this Warnerton Speedway and indeed of this car. 07 Jean Vasseur, champion in 2007. Xavier van der Meers really seems to have, his challenge seems to have gone off a bit now. Kelvin Hassel, 2nd place, then it's Xavier van der Meers in car number 19, and this is our race leader. Jean Vasseur in car number 07. Don't forget, lots more information about this superb racing series at latemodel.eu. That's the web address for you to check it all out. Jean Vasseur, 07, leads the way. And each and every lap that he puts around this raceway is spot on perfect. But you have to say now, watching very, very closely and keeping an eye on our timing screens here, is Kelvin Hassel now beginning to reel him in a little bit. And I think he is. I really think that Kelvin Hassel is beginning to get on terms with Jean Vasseur. This is going to be a very late challenge. As we see Lee Maddox go round. And trouble for Jos Janssen in treble 2, the Raptor racing driver. The front of his car has sustained some damage. So there is 07. There's Tony Hurdle. We can see the damaged treble 2 car. The Raptor racing driver, Jos Janssen. You can see that panel work there. Off into the paddock he goes, as does Lee Maddox in car number 99 as well. Tony Hurdle still out there though, because we're back on board with him. So, the green flag goes down again. A real flyer from Wim Moonen, who I thought was going to try and get between Jean Vasseur and Kelvin Hassel, but didn't manage to. So, once again, we ask a lot as we get into the final stages of this race, and the battle at the moment is 2nd and 3rd and 4th, as Wim Moonen is in that pack as well. Look at this, they're trading places, trading paint as well. 07 then, Jean Vasseur gets away nicely. Then we see Xavier van der Meers. Then I think it's Wim Moonen. Well, it's nip and tuck between Wim Moonen and Kelvin Hassel. They are absolutely side by side. So 07 leads with just a couple of laps left to run of this Warnerton Speedway, this marathon 60-lap race, which has been a real test of driver and machine. And these cars have handled it so well, as we knew they would. The European Late Model Series here at the Warnerton Speedway, and it looks like it's going to be Jean Vasseur's feature final. Indeed it is. He takes the checkered flag. Xavier van der Meers, with the customary tail out, takes 2nd place. Wow, what a race, as Roland van der Meers, race promoter then, waves those checkered flags, and we take a look at the board that says Jean Vasseur takes the win with Xavier van der Meers in 2nd place, Wim Moonen 3rd, Kelvin Hassel 4th, Bruce Andy Andrews was 5th, Bertrand Zor 6th, Tony Hurdle 7th, and Keith Wally 88 was 8th. And the driver standings then, Xavier van der Meers remains at the top with 795 points. Gary Ellis didn't finish the feature final, he's got 738. Then we see Jean Vasseur in 3rd place in the championship with Wim Moonen 4th, Bruce Andrews 5th, and Tony Hurdle 6th. Xavier, as if there wasn't enough drama in the final anyway, you in the middle of it catching fire.
Yeah, the fuel tank was too full and take fire.
My goodness me, and from all of that, you still come back and take 2nd.
If it's possible, I'll drive again.
Many congratulations, Xavier.
Thanks.
So thanks very much for joining us for this 60-lap feature final, and we'll see you for more exciting European Late Model Series action in our next programme. Welcome to Lidden Hill in Kent, the first foray into the UK for this European Late Model Series as they take to a road circuit, although it is an oval. It's going to be really interesting because the new set of challenges that these drivers and teams have got to cope with, challenges in terms of setup, challenges in terms of driver preparation, and challenges of how they get on with this circuit. All that to come. And in the recent weeks, as we've lost a megastar from the pop industry, we know that we're looking forward to a thriller. And away we go then. Heat 1, 25 laps with the former Stockcars once again right at the front of the grid. Gentlemen. And our race director there, Roland van der Meersch, on this formation lap. Make sure each and every car is in exactly the right position. We get the greens from Roland and we are away and racing. So Colin White in car number 78 makes his first foray into this European Late Model Series. 88 right at the front it is, that's Keith Wally in the all-red car. And Colin White already through into second position. He's following Keith Wally down the downhill section into the left-hander. Now there's a very challenging circuit for all the drivers out here as they turn into the what is effectively turn 1. It goes downhill a little bit. Can't see the end of that bend. They're taking it blind, and look at this, Colin White taking a wide outside line and all the way around the outside of Keith Wally. Hugely experienced Colin White, National Hot Rod World Champion, Ginetta driver at the moment, as well as forays into brick car and touring car and all sorts of stuff. So Colin White is a huge fan of these big V8 cars. And look at this, he's into the lead already. It is Colin White that's leading the way. And here we see the Camso cars beginning to get on terms with those former Stockcars. The likes of Gary Ellis and Xavier van der Meersch, who are right up there in the championship table, beginning to close the gap. But it is Colin White from Keith Wally, 78, leads car number 88. And then we see Paul Bowman, who's into this Lidden Hill round. There's Bertrand Zor in car number 71, currently down there in 10th and 11th places. But it is 78, Colin White, that is leading the way around this oval that forms part of the Lidden Hill race circuit. And it is the European Late Models' first venture into the UK shores. Battle there going on between Tractor Boy and Tony Hurdle. That's 99 and 98. They are very much side by side. And Kurt Dujardin, the all-black car number 2. Right on their back bumper as well. And then around the outside, look at that, goes Gary Ellis. Takes to a little bit of lawn mowing duties, but gets it back onto the tarmac. And Gary Ellis is being hounded by the series returnee in the all-green car, 77, Tony Roots as well. So this is a tight pack back there. These for 4th, 5th, 6th places. This is absolutely magnificent stuff from this European Late Model Series. And look at this charge from the yellow car. Gary Ellis around the outside of Tractor Boy and Tony Hurdle. Xavier van der Meersch in car number 19 as we see Paul Bowman in car number 39. That brings out the yellow flags. We saw Paul Bowman get it badly wrong, and Kurt Dujardin has gone as well. So instructions, of course, from the race director, because he has plumbed into the crash helmet via a race-saver system to each and every one of these drivers, so he can pass on the crucial information. Paul Bowman gets himself round, and this is where it went wrong for Paul Bowman then. Just a little bit of oversteer, too much oversteer, couldn't control it. That spun him around. Gary Ellis dives in to miss him. So does Xavier van der Meersch. But in the ensuing melee, Kurt Dujardin got caught out. So we go back to green again. And it is Colin White once again leading them away, but right now Colin White and Keith Wally have got Gary Ellis in car number 95 right on their back bumper. Gary Ellis is third. Tractor boy Lee Maddox showing well here at Lydden Hill, currently 6th place for him. He's got Xavier Vandermeersch on his inside. Jean Vasseur is going through as well. And there we see Bertrand Zor in car number 71, but this is your race leader. It's Colin White, who's now coming under some pressure from 95. Gary Ellis, the yellow and red Reeds V8 racing machine, powering its way around Lydden Hill. So it's experience with Colin White right at the front in what is his former SCSA ASCAR. Xavier Vandermeersch getting very sideways as he dives up the inside to gain another place, and that puts him through into 4th position as Gary Ellis now takes a dive up the outside of Colin White and absolutely drives around him. Amazing stuff from Gary Ellis in car number 95. Phenomenal turn of speed all the way around the outside of Colin White, as if he wasn't there. Incredible stuff indeed. Colin White tries to fight back, but Gary really had got the line and used it to absolute perfection, and that's propelled him right up to leading this race. So it's 95 Gary Ellis from 78 Colin White. Then we see Xavier Vandermeersch, and then it's 88 Keith Wally. So Gary Ellis then absolutely loving this. So race director tells us a car number 34, the Winston Graham car, is out of harm's way. So the track's still free. The waved yellow indicates that there is a car there, but it's and Gary Ellis locks up, and disaster for Gary Ellis, just cooks it too hard. Colin White glances it, and Xavier Vandermeersch goes in as well. So yellow, yellow, yellow. Let's see that again. Gary Ellis just too hard into that. He locks up, frantically turns the wheel to the right hand side. Colin White just glances the tyres on oversteer, and then Xavier Vandermeersch, Bosch, in there to join the party as well. What a disaster for these front running cars. Hopefully Colin White seems to have got away unscathed. It's more than could be said for Gary Ellis and also for Xavier Vandermeersch. Xavier's car looks like it's the one that took the most damage.
Okay, perfect. So gentlemen, the race is finished. 07 is the winner.
So the red flag is out then. The race is declared, and that means Jean Vasseur takes first place, Colin White second, Keith Wally third, Tony Hurdle, good result for him in fourth, fantastic result for Lee Maddox fifth. Then it's Kurt Dujardin, Jos Janssen and Vincent Lehook. So Jean Vasseur, victorious, race one here at Lydden Hill. From a driver's eye perspective, what was going on in front of you?
I didn't really see what was going on because I was catching Colin and Keith, and suddenly I see Xavier going in the tyres and didn't really know what happened.
Now Colin White, of course, fierce competitor, but you had the measure.
Yeah, but he spun and I took the opportunity to overtake him before the yellow was called, so that's why I take the first place.
Well, after a frantic first race, an awful lot of work to be done by the race teams to get those cars back in order to be back out on track for race two. Wim Moonen then posies over his engine. So joining the European Late Model Series at Lydden Hill, notorious driver, notorious for all the right reasons, Colin White, welcome.
Hi.
Now, of course, many people know you from National Hot Rod Racing, Group A Hot Rod Racing before that, National Hot Rod Multi-World Champion, ASCARs of course, dabbled with Brit Car, Touring Car, and now in the, what do they call the old Duffers Championship in Ginetta, Scott? Chairman's Cup, isn't
Chairman's
it?
Cup, yeah, I'm winning the Chairman's Cup for the moment, yes, the over 21 grade, you know.
So I know you in the background, whilst this is the first showing for you in the European Late Model Series, I know you've been very supportive of the development of it, and this is your first time out in it, and I know you've been sort of itching to get out there, haven't you?
Yeah, that's right. We've always wanted to sort of join the two series together, the ASCAR and the Cosmos, put them together and see what they handle like. We've done it many moons ago, about 4 or 5 years ago at Mallory Park, and we knew then it was going to be very competitive, and we wanted to try and keep the short oval racing series running, and by joining together it gives us double the amount of cars and it'll be a good series. And I'm unable to sort of do all those series up to now, all the rounds, but now opportunities here today and tomorrow and later in the year. I think another one in August I can do, and we're going to do one at Hennisford, so it'll be good.
Well, the racing here at Liddon Hill has been as action-packed as we expected. And that action will continue with our next race after this break. Welcome back. It's the European Late Model Series racing here at Liddon Hill. So a lot of work going on, and look at that sheet metal going onto the Xavier Vandermeer's car, the door and the wing all one piece. Gary Ellis's car looks back with lots of yellow gaffer tape holding it together, and look at that, Xavier Vandermeer's back out on track, showboating sideways as always. With formation now, and our race director.
Perfect in position, everyone the same speed, please.
He's happy, we're happy. We get the greens, and once again we go racing in his Heat 2. It's 66 Vincent Lee Hook who's leading the way as we go on board with Gary Ellis. So race 2, lap 1, we are underway and racing alongside Kurt Dujardin now. This is Gary Ellis taking the wide outside line. Kurt Dujardin, we're way back down on the grid, but Kurt Dujardin has got the inside line and Gary Ellis has got it wrong. My goodness me, almost a carbon copy of what happened in race 1, and Xavier is there as well. Look at that, it's almost a mirror image of the crash in Heat 1, and that was literally lap 1. My goodness me. So Gary Ellis out, he's perfectly okay. Of course, these cars hugely strong. Xavier, well, from what we can see, his car looks okay. I suspect it looks a bit different the other side. No, he's fine. He's getting back in the car and he's going to go again. I suspect that Gary Ellis is not going to do that. Indeed, a lot of panel work damage at the front there. But again, the strength of these cars means that probably it is only superficial damage. They're remarkable. Just a radiator probably punctured in Gary Ellis's car. But look at that, a little bit of flapping sheet metal at the back of Xavier's car, but he's going to be back in this race, so it is race 2. We get the green, and once again we go racing. And we're on lap 1 as Wim Moonen locks up and gets a little bit sideways. He's back down there in 6th place, but it is Vincent that's leading in the orange car. Then we see Wim Moonen, the all-yellow 73 car. Alongside him is Josh Janssen in the matte black machine. But it's Vincent Lehook that's leading. Then we see car number 98. Then it's Keith Wally occupying 1, 2, 3, 4. Wim Moonen is in the all-yellow car. But this leading the race at Liddon Hill, leading race 2. It's Vincent Lehook. Wim Moonen looking very, very strong indeed. So it's a real international field with Belgian, French, Dutch and English drivers all contesting this European late model series. It truly is European. And Colin White again taking a huge charge around the outside of Wim Moonen and making it work. There's Tony Roots in the all green machine. There's Xavier Vandermeer, complete with flapping panel work. But he's still doing okay. He's still in there and racing. Okay, Colin White goes again. My goodness me, it's like a magnet, that tyre wall.
Gentlemen, yellow, trouble in turn 1. Trouble in turn 1. Slow down.
So uniquely, we're able to get all the instructions from the race director, so we're aware of all the yellow flags. And this is where it goes wrong for Colin White then. Just cooks it going into that left-hander, can't hold it, desperately tries to get the car sideways to absorb the impact, doesn't quite do it, it's into the corner. So Vincent Lehook then has got it to do all over again. Alongside him, Tony Hurdle in car number 98. Then we see 88 Keith Wally, and there is Wim Moonen in car number 73, the Dutch driver Wim Moonen, former lightning rod champion. As once again we get the greens and we go racing the European Late Model Series race 2 of round 6 here at Liddon Hill Raceway. So the early laps have been fraught with activity, fraught with drama and fraught with action. And let's get down to the serious racing now. Kurt Dujardin in car number 2 making a huge dive around the inside as Wim Moonen looks up the inside of Tony Hurdle. So 98 there being hounded by both 73 and car number 2, and now Jean Vasseur, the Frenchman, in 07 coming in to join the party as well as they go side by side and sandwich Tony Hurdle in the middle. Remarkable stuff, though Wim Moonen didn't carry quite enough speed into that and couldn't make the move count, but he jolly well will this time into the left-hander. He's got the inside line, he's got 07 Jean Vasseur right behind him, and Tony Hurdle can do nothing but watch him come by the inside. Vincent LeHoux leads in 66. Then it's Kurt Dujardin in the matte black number 2 car driving for Raptor Racing. Recently raced an Aston at the Spa 24 hours, so he's full of racing experience, and I tell you what, as a racing driver, he's full of enthusiasm for this European Late Model Series, as indeed all the matte black Raptor Racing cars are, as Wim Moonen has gone round in car 73. So once again we get yellows, we get flames out of the back of Kurt Dujardin's car, car number 2. This is where it went wrong for Wim Moonen. Gets the back out, cannot hold it. Jean Vasseur takes evasive action and only just misses Wim Moonen, who puts it into a spin and to the safety of the grass. Wow, race 2, what a race it's been. And we get the greens again, and once again Vincent LeHoux has got it all to do. And he's got Kurt Dujardin on his outside, and he's got Jean Vasseur right behind him. However, he's a cool customer, and he will make these drivers work for it, and work they're going to have to do. But Kurt Dujardin is looking pretty strong, but Jean Vasseur is trying to find a way up the inside. It's 66, 2 and 07. Then we see Keith Wally in 4th place. And Wim Moonen back in again, right at the back of the grid. But here, Kurt Dujardin takes a move on 66. And we're into the last lap, and on the last lap, Kurt Dujardin goes through. A remarkable overtaking manoeuvre, which he managed to get to stick. So Dujardin surely is going to take the checkers. Indeed he does, from Jean Vasseur, Vincent LeHoux, and then Tony Roots. Did he just get past Keith Wally at the line? Checkered flag is waved, and wow, what a race.
Little Hill is beautiful. First of all, we have a little bit more speed than in Warneton. Secondly, the scenery is marvelous. Third, I like so much to come and see here the English people and meet with the English people. They are really the big race lovers of the world. And as a matter of fact, this race was beautiful, was a good race, but the two protagonists, the two men I have to take, they were not anymore there because they slipped away. So it was not so difficult.
So Kurt Dujardin then taking the win and delighted with his sunglasses on. Jean Vasseur 2nd, Vincent LeHoux 3rd. Tony Roots then did take 4th from Keith Wally, Tony Hurdle, Winston Graham and Jos Janssen. As we get the greens then for the feature final, 25 hot rocking laps around the Lydden Hill Raceway. And look at this, Tractor Boy is in the lead. Amazing stuff. Lee Maddox then leads them away from Keith Wally. Then it's Paul Bowman. Then we see Tony Hurdle and Bertrand Zor currently back down there in 5th place. So Lee Maddox then, the Tractor Boy, the East Anglian farmer lad, is leading this race in the European Late Model Series. Coming under some pressure from the all-red car of Keith Wally though, in car number 88 right now. With 25 laps as Keith Wally gets very sideways but manages to dial it back in and hold on to it. So Lee Maddox then, amazing stuff, and probably this is the first time he's driven on a race circuit in the UK. Of course he's been in 2 or 3 of the rounds at Warnerton, but here he is in his home country, not quite his home county, but he is leading this feature final. But Jean Vasseur in 07 is up into 3rd place already. Now he is the one that we have got to watch, 07 here. Surely he gets up the inside of Keith Wally, or does he? No, Keith Wally shuts the door and says, no, you go around the long way, my friend. So it's 99 from 88 and 07. And Jean desperately looking to find a way past Keith Wally, who it has to be said is making it very wide. So 99, 88, 07, the 1, 2, 3, and at last Jean Vasseur manages to get an outside line. So right alongside, and he drives past Keith Wally now, so that puts him into 2nd place, or does it? Keith Wally fights back, but no, he's through. And it's now Tractor Boy that he's got to get on terms with. He's right alongside him, again taking the wide and longer outside line. Around this, as Tractor Boy goes a bit wide, Keith Wally spins, and Jean Vasseur goes through. So Keith Wally has spun himself out into, spins himself out into safety. And as we can see here, just a little bit too much, and he couldn't hold it all together. So Off onto the grass he goes, and whilst that happens, Jean Vasseur goes through, and Winston Graham doing remarkably well up into 4th place as well. So this is our race leader, 07 Jean Vasseur, who's now got the back marking 88 Keith Wally. And he gets past him without a problem at all. 07 Jean Vasseur then. Oh, as we see Jos Janssen in treble 2 off. Now thankfully Jos Janssen had managed to avoid the wall and just kept it on the rough stuff. Tony Roots there in car number 77. As all these drivers come through, Wim Moonen, Tony Hurdle in 98 and Colin White once again in the all green 78 machine. So this is Wim Moonen then versus Tony Hurdle's former Ascot, and Wim Moonen goes through on the inside. Colin White looks to be following as well, and a great show from Tony Roots there in car number 77. But there's our race leader, 07 Jean Vasseur, the Frenchman, and there is Kurt Dujardin reeling in Tony Roots in car 77, Xavier Van der Misch, Vincent Lehoc. This is back down in 6th, 7th and 8th places, and at the moment Tony Roots is having to defend hard from Kurt Dujardin, of course is on a high from his earlier race win, sky high in fact, as he just drives around Tony Roots in car number 77. Remarkable stuff from Kurt Dujardin, remarkable though nonetheless that Tony Roots is racing, given the health issues he's had this year, but he's recovered from those and he's back out there doing exactly what he loves, and that's racing these fantastic V8 motor cars. Paul Bowman in car number 39 is about to come under pressure from that very man, 77 Tony Roots in the all green machine. The South Londoner, who's been involved in oval racing for more years than he'd probably care to mention, in car number 77. Wim Moonen there in car number 73, and that is Wim Moonen, former lightning rod star, and this is 07 Jean Vasseur, and overtaking what is the back mark in Xavier Van der Misch, which is highly unusual, but Xavier Van der Misch's car cannot be handling as he would like after the forays into the tyres that Xavier has been through. 07 Jean Vasseur is that leads. Oh, and bad news for Lee Maddox, the tractor boy. He's off onto the rough stuff. He had done so very, very well. 07 Jean Vasseur leads.
1 lap to go now.
And Roland Van der Misch tells us just 1 lap to go. There's Winston Graham in car number 34, being hounded by number 2, Kurt Dujardin. The feature final over 25 laps here at Lydden Hill, about to reach a conclusion. And it will be a strong conclusion for the 2007 champion, Jean Vasseur. Checkered flag goes. And there he is, 07 Jean Vasseur, one of the smartest European late model cars out there. Reason for that is actually a spray painter, so you would expect him to do that. The Fast Frog dominates again, but dominates in the UK. Now, given all the action, all the incident we've had here in the heats, Jean Vasseur, we expected the final to be full of drama and accidents and spinning off and what have you, but actually flag to flag.
Yeah, it's good to be racing with accident as well. And yeah, Gary and Xavier didn't have look here today. That's racing.
So here we go then with the race results. Jean Vasseur taking the win. Winston Graham, brilliant second place for him. Kurt Dujardin again on the podium with 3rd. Tony Roots 4th. Wim Moonen 5th. Tony Hurdle 6th. Vincent Lehoc 7th. And that means the championship is led now by Xavier Van der Misch with Gary Ellis 2nd. However, Jean Vasseur is catching them up in 3rd, and Wim Moonen is currently 4th. An absolutely remarkable feature final, 25 laps, flag to flag for the European Late Model Series. Unbelievably, no drama, no incident, just non-stop racing all the way through that feature final. Great stuff indeed, and well done to Jean Vasseur, the eventual victor in that final. There's much more action to come from the European Late Model Series very soon.